Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright. 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 Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright.
entrepreneurship. We also learn how to heal in the process and become better entrepreneurs and people. Today, we're going to speak on some real influential, powerful learning on in terms of how we can process information and how to think better. Last week we had some real good insights, and I had a lot of questions throughout the week. So I want to talk about some of those as well as chop it up with you guys back and forth and just regurgitate some of the information so that we know that we got it, as well as any questions that you might have on the intro so that we can really burn it into our psychology. Because this is a type of stuff that really can change you if you allow it to. If you're vulnerable enough to it and you're open to it, these are the type of nuggets that can change you, which can change your trajectory. So this really ain't gonna be about me being up here talking as much as it is us exchanging information and ideas and going back and forth until you get it. So Nana's not here this week. He's out with the Mickey Mouse hat, doing his thing with his daughter, which is beautiful. So we're gonna hold it down today, and we gonna really have some impact tonight, so we can make sure that the value is here. So this is called Beginner's Mind Part 2. Let's go to the next slide. So as I like to do, always recap. Last week we talked about the concept of what will make you laugh can make you cry. Are we 100% on what that means? Not 100%? Okay. And let's keep it 100 so we make sure we get it. So the same beliefs that make you cry that make you laugh can make you cry. So governing beliefs we talked about is something that is deep down in your psychology. And what that means is you forget that it's a belief. You just move that way. And it's not until you really sit down and reflect that you realize it's a governing belief. And that belief has been leading your life this whole time. You can't realize why your shit is messed up. I'm going to try so hard because it's babies in here. So, and the thing about it is we champion certain governing beliefs because we believe and couple them with right and wrong. We couple governing beliefs with right and wrong, so we feel justified in holding on to these beliefs. So let's talk about a couple examples in class. Let's talk about spontaneity. How many like friends or they partners to be spontaneous? Everybody, right? So if I have a belief that spontaneity is good and I'm spontaneous, right? It's good. You like that, right? What you doing right now? I text you. What you doing right now, Kaja? I'm at work. Pack your shit. I'm about to pick you up. We're going to go Monterey. Is that cool? Let's go. We go to Monterey, have fun, cool, come back. That next Tuesday, what you doing, Kaja? Pack your shit. We going somewhere else. Cool, let's go. We out. We get back that Friday. That Sunday, we chilling on the couch, whatever, watching TV. Get your shit, let's go. We gone 2 or 3 days again. Come back. You just touched down in the bag. You're like, that's fun. You put your bags down. The next day, hey, get your shit. We out. House dirty, dogs hungry, job calling you. You say, hey, Court, I need let's meet up. I need you to go grab something for me at 4 p.m. 3 p.m., something fun to come up. I'm out. Did you go get that? No, shit, I forgot. I got caught up doing something else. All right, I give you a pass, but damn, like next time, call me. We get home, you had a bad day at work. Kaja, get your shit. Let's go. We out. At a certain point, you're gonna be like, this shit is getting old. This is getting old. I can't count. I can't get into a rhythm of life because I like the spontaneity, but I can't get into a rhythm of life because every week, every day, every other day is always some shit. And what you like about spontaneity will over time you hate it. I don't like this apartment. Let's move to another one. I don't like this. We out. You just quit your job? Man, fuck that job. We on to the next one. Man, because spontaneity is not just with traveling. Spontaneity is an energy that pervades the person. So too much of that, the same belief that'll make you laugh will also make you cry. It's the truth. Because if you have switches, because they're governing beliefs, if they are switches and not knobs, then over time. So then the word changes from spontaneity. How come y'all broke up? Kaja, how come y'all broke up? That court is too unreliable. Impulsive. Because the same belief that make you laugh will make you cry. What about winning? Winning. A person that's a winner. Who likes being around winners? Okay. Now, can somebody give me scenarios of how that same philosophy can translate to a person who has who's a winner? So let's talk about the good, the beginning of the story. He's a winner. He hang around winners. He balling. He doing his thing. He got a winning mentality. He's always around the top people. He's always getting it. He's getting the money. He's a winner. But if he has that as a switch and not a knob, what can over time happen?
You don't see people. You see who you think is winning, right? So you're easily misled. So you're so focused on like who you perceive to be on top, you don't see all of this. So over time you start to lose because you lose your ability to see people.
You don't see people. That's one. What else?
I would say you don't know how to lose, or like when you do lose for someone else, if you're more agile and you're used to losing, you can like come back. But if you're so used to winning and you lose, that small loss can be an even bigger one just because you can't like bounce back from it.
Sore loser. What else?
Winning can make you a workaholic.
Workaholic. What about this one? Everything's a competition. I race you to the car. What? You race me to the car? Everything a competition. I'm going to compete with you at everything. Who can tie the shoe the fastest? If it's a switch and not a knob, so then the same thing that attracted you to that person can turn you off of that person over time. That's why always get in the practice of turning your switches to knobs. Then that way they no longer become governing beliefs, but tools for you to use when you need them.
I just walked in, so I missed a lot of it. But from what I think I understand, makes it a lot easier for people to kiss up and kick down because they're so used to showing up to people in the winning circle that they don't have an awareness of how to show up and treat people that are not in their circle.
Good one. Good one. We clear on that philosophy? Same thing that could I got one that's a controversial one. Let's talk about faith. If you got faith, that makes you an excellent companion friend. If I'm doing bad and you got faith in me, if I got a dream or an idea or a concept or I want to do something big and you got faith in me, oh man, that's one of the best things. To have somebody who have faith in me, my ideas. You gonna ride with me to these, we ain't got wheels, we got bikes. And you gonna rock with me because you got faith in me, that's amazing. But blind faith can lead you down a slippery slope to hell. It's been 7 years and I ain't showed no signs of no kind of progress. But your governing belief is that you have faith. I got faith. Yo, at what point were you going to wake up and get the hell on up out of there? Or make some changes or do something different? The same belief that can make you laugh can make you cry. Jesus, let's talk about religion and faith. A lot of people are caught in that web of their spiritual beliefs, not based on whether it's working for them or not, because they're afraid to do anything else and they have faith. They started, they're going to finish. But what we don't realize is Jesus, one of my favorite people, he came in and was like, "Oh, this is y'all religion? Oh, that's what y'all believe? All right, that's dumb. We're not doing that no more. Y'all doing that, but we're not doing that. We're doing this." The content of what you're saying is this, but the context is this. So we're going to go with the context, and what y'all doing is stupid. You know, y'all look stupid right now. So, hey, you guys, look at them. They look stupid. You guys don't ever do what they doing no more. We're going to do this because they stuck on this. And he went and basically shitted on a good portion of the way they were following and doing their religion and created a new version. So can you imagine back then how much of a shock that was to the system that was built off of thousands of years of a group of people who came out of Egypt? You know how much of a shock that was? And they're like, wait, time out. Who are you? Who are you? You just gonna show up and start shitting on my whole religion? Yes. And actually, clowning. He came clowning. And with the ability to do the special stuff too, right? Dead person, get up. What? So that forces them to be like, who is this? Who is him? So imagine if you were stuck with a particular faith that says, oh no, I believe this. My forefathers believed it. They believed it before them. Thousands of people before me believe this. This works for us. There's no way I'm switching over to that. Are you just gonna show up? I'm sticking with my faith. So the people who converted had knobs, not switches. That's why you gotta convert your switches to knobs. So, go ahead.
What I think is interesting in knobs, not switches for me is being able to have awareness of agility versus, because that's how I'm in my mind, I'm seeing knobs as agility, right? So when it's agility and when it is I don't have the word, so I'm gonna say where I'm gonna use a phrase like where you're not sticking to it enough, right? Because there's like this tension. There's a good tension of staying in something because and not being frustrated because you don't see immediate results, right? So there's that, and then there is agility. And so the distinction between those two places is a really interesting place to navigate.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
in you guys recall the book Emotional Agility. There's a chapter in the book about grit or quit. The difference between having grit and the difference between quitting. Because when something is not working, liminal thinking will pull you outside of the thing, the micro of the thing, and take you to the macro, and then take you to the meta. So emotional agility says, what's my feedback loop look like? I input this amount of work. What am I getting back? Is there any kind of progress? Is this concurrent with similar in my industry? If I want to play, if I want to be an NBA player, I have to seriously play the long game. I have to play a 16, 17, 18-year long game, because that's average what happens. Now you have exceptions. You have, kids who go out of high school, but the average trajectory of it is 18. So if you're frustrated that you hadn't made it to the league yet and you only put a couple years, we have a different problem. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to pop after 1 year and become a millionaire after 1 year, that's a different problem. So you have to understand the trajectory of an entrepreneur. What's industry? What's the standard? And where am I? And what's my feedback loop? And then there's quit, which means, am I being stupid? Am I being stupid? Meaning, am I making decisions continuously that allow me to be in the same place? Is this my business? Why am I doing this?
When you think about that in terms of something that you haven't confronted before, so as you were talking, what came up for me was COVID and how you had to confront some things at a time where everybody was confronting a thing and there was nothing but it was all liminal very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Very quickly. And it was liminal every day longer than we thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So when you think about, like, when the space is liminal, how do you apply? What did you do in terms of like that? Are you using feedback loops? How are they helping you when it's question marks all around?
Well,
or you're trying to, essentially, you're seeking, right? You're trying to push into something that most people aren't doing quite yet.
mm-hmm.
So how do you?
Well, I put quitting on the table. Okay, what are my options? Quitting. That's a good one. Shit, I'm tired. And I know with all the game that I've learned over time, that whatever I put my mind to and my experience on, I'm going to come back. So I don't care about the business per se or my reputation or what people might think. Quitting is an option, and it's up there because I'm seeing too many zeros in my bank account. Zero. My payroll at the time was $20K. Just payroll was $20K a month. So, and if I get a goose egg, like, quitting is on the table. All right, now that that's there and I'm 100% comfortable with doing that, what are the other ideas? What are other alternatives? What other options that I have? Option 2, option 3, option 4, option 5, option 6, and go through all the options that I have. And it's not you sit down and do it in one day. It's over the course of your thinking, so that it's not like, I used to be the guy that I'm not a quitter. I'm never gonna quit. I ain't a quitter. However, that same belief that can make you win can make you lose. I'm not a quitter. So in a lot of situations, I won from it. But then there's a lot of situations I drove myself into the ground, almost died from it. So liminal thinking is what allows you to put the options all out on the table, and you pick the best ones, the smartest ones. All right, I have some time for this, so I'm gonna come back to this in 30 days, and if I don't see any measurable progress in 30 days, then I'm gonna bring this back up to the top of my list. Like you pulling the emotions out, and you're allowing yourself to really get into the non-emotional best scenario for yourself. Mike,
Feeling like we at the damn house. I'm
let's
just
do
talking.
it. Let's do it. That's what we have.
So non-emotional.
Turn this into a fireplace, Dre. We just gonna turn the lights off and have a combos.
So non-emotional. I'm a human.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm emotional. I am emotional. So I have a responsibility to also deal with my emotions at the time. Because I'm going to say that in all of that, if I'm you, I got emotions that are happening. Because this all just got real weird. So I have emotions that are happening. And so what's that part? So what does that part look like? Because I see the business part about like step back from emotions and look at all of your options. On the emotional side, what do you do with those? Is it this? Do you think about your emotions in the same way, or do you approach that differently? Because I don't know why you would or wouldn't, but I'm just curious.
Well, I'm human too, hella human, and I'm sensitive. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was raised by my mom, so like I get mad, angry, I have all those emotions. Over time, I learned the space between stimulus and response to widen. Stimulus response. We grow up like this. So stimulus, I don't have no time. Boom, you react. So before I do anything, I feel the same emotions. Fuck, what'd you just say? I smack the shit out of you. Like all the same stuff. But I've allowed myself enough space to not act, to not make a move, to not press a button, to not do anything. Because emotions are just physiological storms in your brain. They pass. So if you hold out long enough, your brain will be like, oh, what's that over there? Like it's gone. Squirrel. The anger is gone. The frustration's gone. The whatever you were pissed off about or the initial buzz you got from that stimulus is gone. So all you gotta do is wait it out. Then you make the decision. Then you press the button. And I don't know if you'll ever get there because we're humans. I feel it. Sometimes I just got better at faking it. Yeah, that's cool. Yep, that's cool. I want to choke the shit out of something, right? No, that's cool. Then I let that emotion pass, and then I make the best decision. Even today, one of my designers showed me an email from somebody who faked like they were a customer because they're trying to figure out how we're doing what we're doing over here. So they faked like they're a customer and got all the way to the end of the process. And then finally outed themselves as, I got the same kind of company, but you guys is just killing the game, so I'm trying to figure out, like, give me his number. I literally put his number in my phone, and he was like, Court, don't call. Just give 30 minutes. I'm like, you're right, 30 minutes. His number is still in my phone. And you know what? The best decision, why do I even call him? Why do I even give him my energy? What can he do for me? Nothing. What can he do for me? Nothing. If we keep growing, this shit's gonna keep happening. So why am I tripping? So what? we built systems where he didn't make it through. So good job on the system. Yeah, so cool. You want to fake like you're fine, but at least the system we built. So I'm not even gonna give him the energy. Like I'm not even gonna call him. But that's literally before. So emotions are always gonna happen. It's when do you actually make the decision? Remember when you was gonna slap Josh? Shabisha, I was there. I was there. She turned around with her, when they do the ball fist like this, that's what Shabisha, and I was like, Shabisha, you're so sweet and intelligent. What? Right? But the space between stimulus and response was so short for that type of trigger for her that she was like Shabisha in high school. I beat your ass, Josh. I beat your, and she did this kind of. But did she? No. So he got to live another day. So do you guys understand? Is that helpful? Is that helpful? I mean, I think Shakina got that one too, where they put the teeth over the bottom lip. So here's a concept behind this. You guys are not your brains. Your brains they pass through different emotions through you, and you get angry, sad, happy. You are not your brains. You are not your brains. You have access to your brains. You have access to your body. So that's why you can make decisions and choices within the context of how you're moving. You understand what I'm saying? If I say the word happy in your head right now, say the word happy. How the hell did you hear the word happy and you didn't speak? It's because there's a you in there. There's a you in there. I can say scream the word happy right now in your head. I can say play the song Pharrell Happy in your head right now. And you hear the shit, right? Who is doing that? When there's no word, nobody's speaking the word, because you are the controller of this. So the goal is to get better at the space, taking pauses when your body is tripping, when your mind is tripping, when the body you is tripping. No, hold on, no, don't do that. Let's chill for a second. Now let's spread these cards out on the table and see what the best decisions are in this particular situation. That's why we turn these from switches to knobs. Once you turn them from switches to knobs, now you have more control over everything. Before it's just on, off, on, off, on, off. Well, what if I don't? That's like turning the heater on or turning the heater off. Well, what if I don't want to be 100 degrees? What if I just want to be 70, 72? That's once you do those, now game gets easier, gets better, gets stronger for you. You have more options. You have more, Nana used the word, optionality. I had one of my talks with Nana last week. So I'm in my optionality. You feel me? So optionality is what you want intellectually, psychologically, mentally too. Sometimes you gotta go 100. Like if somebody was threatening you and your life was on the line, would you want to turn it to 1? Like, no, like we turning all this to 10. It's life or death. So it's not like you throw it away. It's just now when to use it and when not to. Any other questions about what make you laugh, make you cry? Any other concepts that you think could be fit into the same category? What about loyalty? What about honesty? Oh, that's one. Honesty. Should honesty be a switch? What? Oh, I heard some yeses. Yeah. Nah. I need some context. Let's talk about it.
Blaine, just clarify the difference between knob and switch again. Just because I think I know what you're talking about, but just one more time.
A switch means on off. It's either on or off. Right. No in between. A knob means you can go from 10 to 0 to 1 to 2 as you need to. Okay.
I think if a show should be a knob because you know how they have like those stories about like white lies or whatnot, or just being able to read a room and like see and hear and understand a situation. Like there are times when brutal honesty is necessary, especially if you're dealing with somebody that you care or you love about and they can't see themselves and it's a blind spot. Sometimes you got to shock them and tell them like, hey, yo, snap out of it. But then other times, sometimes it's valuable to allow people to learn things in their own time and space. And sometimes you're stealing from them when you're just giving them the answer or just telling them what to do, because a lot of people find more comfort in following instructions instead of figuring out the problem, which in some sense can be a form of enabling because you're not allowing them to have ownership of the process. So I think it's very important to have the discretion on how little or how much to say, because depending upon the situation, somebody might need to be shocked and some people might just need to have the time to figure it out for themselves.
But isn't that lying though?
But yeah, so give me an example of honesty or loyalty from a switch perspective, because even from my opinion of what I just heard from what Shakina just said, that would still be, from an honesty level, that would still be on or off. That would still be a switch. So like, that would be a switch. So give me an example of honesty and or loyalty from a knob perspective, because with honesty, you're absolutely right. You can either be brutally honest or you can just kind of hold back and not take that person's win. But that still sounds like it's a on or off type of thing. How can you halfway be honest? It's either you're going to be honest or you're not. Yeah, and I'd be like, no. That'd be me. I mean, but.
So I think,
yeah.
Okay, Kaja, go ahead. Let's give it to Kaja. I believe in the crowd. So I think by the time we get through the crowd, they're gonna answer the question for you. I knew it. But let's go, Kaja.
I don't think, particularly in business, I don't see anything wrong with lying. It depends on what. Let me explain. I don't see anything wrong with lying. I think the context is everything. I'm going to give an example. I sold something, and I sold it at a certain price. The person I was selling the thing from didn't want the price publicized because they did not want to be locked into that price later on. They reserved the right to change their price, right? For what I'm doing, I felt like in order to get the traction I needed to get, I need to say the price, right? I'm not you. You might be able to do that. I can't, right? I was fine with saying, why don't we just tell people that I subsidized the cost for my market because I wanted to offer them a certain bottom line price. Now, that's not true. It is a lie. But it would have served your purpose and it would have served my purpose and nobody got hurt. So I don't think there's always something wrong with a lie, particularly not in business, depending on the context. Because as I'm starting to move in this space, sometimes I can't help but think, and even when I look at myself as a customer, people want a curated experience. They don't always want the truth. Like, find the truth that they want and give them that. And what you resolve on the back end, that's the business of it all. They don't need to be in the sausage making.
Okay. nugget. There's some nuggets in there. Question: is a gangster 24 hours a day? Have you ever seen a gangster with his mama? So is it a switch or a knob? It's not a switch. It's a knob. If it was a switch, he'd be a gang. He'd just be a gangster 100% of the time. But when you turn it on, you turn it on. Right. So when you turn it on to 100, and when you turn it off to 0. Nothing in between. So it's all or nothing. So no, you're either a gangster at the highest level, the max, or you're nothing. So is there times that even a gangster needs to have a civil conversation with somebody? Yeah, but if you got a switch, you can't do that. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, but at what level? You see what I'm saying? It's either switch on or off, 0 or 1. So switch means when you got a governing belief, it's stuck. You don't even ever turn it off. It's just stuck on. So it's stuck. So I can't never get a different version of you based on that governing belief you have. So if we go back to the gangster concept, one that lasts long in the game rarely uses it at the max level.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? All right, silence. Go ahead.
The way I interpreted it too is the reaction is a switch. You know what I'm saying? So let's say the gangster is with his mom and they get into a disagreement. You know what I'm saying? I told you to take out the trash. That reaction goes to, if it's a switch, the reaction goes to 100%. And
of the max.
Drop kicks.
See a gangster with his daughter? If his daughter say, "No, Dad, I hate you," what, he not gonna knock his daughter out?
I hope he doesn't knock her out. I'm just saying.
Me neither. Go ahead, Shakina.
Riffing off of what Kaja was saying about the market not always needing to know the truth, we get pimped every single day, every time we buy stuff. If we were so caught up on right and wrong and the truth, we would not be consumers, because everything that we freaking buy has a markup on it. So you mean to tell me that everything you bought has been for fair market costs? You've sat there and planned out the resources, the transportation, the labeling, the cost of the system, and everything. They probably sell this bottle for $1 or $2. It cost them like 2 cents to make this bottle. It's everything that we consume is a lie. So then it's all like that $40,000 car that you bought probably cost them $2,000-$3,000 to make. But then they tell you all this inflation and stuff, and you paying not just for the raw materials, but you're paying for the curated experience. It's not everything. The whole experience of a human is a collaboration of lies and stories that make us feel good about ourselves. And so when we get stuck on the right or wrong or fairness, it's all like, but that's contextual to you, your expectations, how much money you got in your account, and your perception, not on anything that's fact-based. And the other thing I was going to say is, it's just like, when people come into my gym, if I told them the truth, like 100% the truth, I would never sign a single freaking client ever again going forward, because they want to hear the middle. They don't want to hear the super good. They don't want to hear the super bad. They don't want to hear if they got high risk for heart disease and their visceral fat is too high and they might be needing some medication and they need to cut out that goddamn sneaking food at 2 o'clock in the morning and cutting meals and bartending and all the crap. They're not going to do that. They need the baby steps, the tiny small pieces that they can add up into building blocks to be able to get to the end. But life is not about telling the truth. It's about learning how much of the truth is appropriate to tell at the situation to get the outcome that you need while protecting the person that you're serving.
Good game. Good game. So understand, if you have a governing belief that's stuck on, that can be used to manipulate you at some point. At some point. And the right person, the person who has enough emotional observation ability to figure that out, will be able to control you with that. If you remember the movie Batman, pretty much all of them, because bro couldn't kill nobody. That was his governing belief. So once once the Joker figured out that that's not what you're gonna do, I can play you. I can play with you. I can stand in the middle of this street, and you're not gonna do anything. Because now I found a weakness in you. Once you have the ability to make things knobs and not switches, then that will allow you to completely open up your liminal thinking and your optionality.
In the spirit of on-off switch, here's what I will say, and then I will not say anything else about this. The bigger you get, be careful about the stories you tell. That is what I will say. So I wouldn't get too confident in your ability to spin stories on people, because the bigger you get, the better you have to get at spinning stories. So make sure that as your business grows, your game in telling stories grows. Because if it doesn't, your ass will show.
Absolutely.
So that is the one thing that I would say, that there is a sophistication to that. And how you lie to 10 people is not how you lie to 100. So I'm saying that to say, people, your ability to tell stories to people, salt lightly with how much you embellish. All I'm saying.
And let's talk about it. It's the whole concept of lying not being bad. You can understand that it can also burn you, right? So because what can make you laugh can make you cry. So the idea is not to go around lying to customers. Is you have to paint narratives around the customer experience for them to feel and get the value exchange. It's a value exchange, and most of the value is not in the product. It's in the story. It's in the experience. So when you go to a ride at Disneyland and they blow the smell of a particular area and the water mists in your face, that's not real water. It's not the smell. They're giving you the experience of it. There was a situation at JCPenney's a long time ago, when there was a JCPenney's, that JCPenney's had always, every item back in the day, it had the tag and it had a cross mark and it had a new price. And you were like, wow, I'm getting the deal. New CEO comes in JCPenney's and he says, look, we're going to stop lying to the customers. Plus, we've been doing this for so long. Y'all know that this ain't the price. So what we'll do is we're going to just put the real price here so you guys, we can be honest and fair. You know, JCPenney's market share and sales plummeted because the customer said, no, we like the feeling of being lied to. Don't do that to me. I want to be able to feel like I saved some money. You get it? That's what when we're talking about honesty and not honesty. Honesty can kill you in those particular situations. Kill your business. And you sitting back, if you stuck on right and wrong, well, what? Well, why? Well, how? How was that possible? Why? I did the right thing. Motherfucker, nobody cares about your right. They care about what works. And if that works, you give it to them. For many years, the old auto industry thing was, he give you a price, you say no, cross it off, till he comes with the last price and say, hey, this is the lowest I can go, right? Over time, we got good at that game. Like, yo, don't do this back and forth shit. This is my price. This is as low as I can go. All right, hold on. You know what he does? He writes 3 or 4 different prices, crosses them all out, and then goes in the back to let his boss know that I tried. Because everybody being lied to. Everybody being lied to. But so don't get caught up in the terminology lying. I'm just saying, if you have certain switches in your life that you believe and they're governing beliefs, and you have stories behind them that says this is the right thing, all right? Because over time, if it's a switch, then it can hurt you. When your daughter's 3, 4, 5, 3 years old, and she says, "Daddy, do you like my picture?" This is beautiful, baby. It's beautiful. Tone will be like, man, fuck this bitch. That's cold-blooded. Of course you're gonna lie. Of course you're gonna lie. Of course you're gonna lie. Go ahead.
What do you think is our over romanticism with telling the truth? Like why from a psychological standpoint do most people want things to be so clean cut and pure when we're very secretive, compartmentalized, random ass creatures, but externally we want like picture perfect? What is that?
Well, we all need a cultural current to drive on. We absolutely need a cultural current to drive on. As tribes, we have certain cultural behaviors that we do overall. So, and that's embedded in our DNA based on our survival. No, it's survival based. Because if me and you are in a tribe together and I can't trust you, you got to go. If you have a reputation where you caught continuously lying, I can't trust you, you got to go. Because the rhythm, the culture, how we navigate, our survival is built on our ability to trust one another. It's embedded in our survival. So the minute you get outed as a liar, you fucked. You just are. So anything underneath that getting outed, then you got to figure out how to navigate that. But the minute you get outed as a person who isn't honest, it's hard to trust you. In what arena? In life, in relationships, in business, anything. So that's why a cultural current of honesty, got to have it. You got to be known as somebody who can be trusted. Or you have to be known as a person of your word. Hey, I'm a woman of my word, or I'm a man of my word. So if you say, hey, I'm going to get it done, I can walk away because I know you're going to get it done. Question.
I think our personal habits versus our in business consumer shopping habits are different. Like my personal life, I need honesty. But in our shopping habits, we all want to be sold something, like told a story. I'm gonna buy that dress. That dress might look good on the mannequin, but if it don't make me look a certain way, I'm not buying that dress.
Right.
Like everything that we do when we're shopping, we want to be told something. I'm gonna buy this hair product because I'm told it's going to do this, this, and that, regardless of whether or not it does this, and that. All these miracle growth drops. You don't have no hair and ain't growing nothing back, but they still on the market. Like we want to be sold something when we're shopping, when we're buying, when we're spending our money. Now, in our personal life, we need honesty. That's necessary. It's needed. But where you spend your money, you want a story.
And from a business perspective, there also are boundaries. So if you promise the consumer a certain
Absolutely.
experience or behavior or product consistency and you don't get it, by law you have the right to replace, fix, or get your money back. Or I've seen companies get sued by millions or go under by the feds because they promised, basically hit a lick. So playing the long game, you got to be very careful. So you got to be very careful if you want to play the long game as a business. You want to be in business a long time, what you promise, you got to deliver. Overall. Now, in the course of certain things, when you're negotiating or when you're trying to get to a number and you're wise, those are flexible in a negotiation. Those are just things that are in play. But overall, even from a business perspective and personally, you gotta be able to deliver. The reason why McDonald's is still here is because those shitty ass hamburgers are the same now as they were for 50 years. They ain't changed. And if you don't like it, you can get your money back.
It's funny. You just you kind of just triggered something. So when you said we want to be sold, I instantly thought when I'm buying stuff as a consumer, I actually hate being sold. I like being told the truth, but I don't like being sold. So I was curious I wanted to know, is your definition of, or if we can talk about this, is sold being lied to or the truth? Because like, just for instance, silly thing, if I'm going to a restaurant or buying a car, whatever, I hate feeling like I'm being sold to because this person is trying to make this sale. You're lying to me. I actually want to know, I guess this would be a switch, like somewhat of the truth. So I wanted to,
yeah. So Tone, basically, you're being sold by a higher level salesperson. That's all that's happening. So the same thing is happening. You're being sold, but just a higher level salesperson is selling you. So the coldest salesperson on earth sells you without you think you're being sold. If you exchange money for a service or a product, however he spit or she gave you the game, you got sold. So the thing is, if I'm a good salesperson and me and you are in a room and I get context from you, I peep that. I'll change my strategy. Look, I'm not gonna bullshit you, Tone. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. This is the price. We paid $36 for it. We charging $40 for it. Can I make $2,000? And you're like, damn, you keeping it 100 with me like that? Yeah, man. Like when I bought it during the pandemic when the prices were crazy. It was worth $46. So when I bought it, I was hoping to get a $10,000 commission profit on it. But now, after COVID's over and they made all the computer chips for the cars, and now the stock of cars back up, now the value is at 38. I can't go below 38. Can I make 2 G's? Man, he keeps it real with me. I like that. I'm gonna man, that car cost me 26. Do you like the car? Yes. Then we good. So you think you weren't sold. You think you weren't sold. You were. Go ahead, give him the mic.
Okay, so is it so the definition of being sold? Anytime you spend your money, you're being sold. Like we all have that person. Okay, hold on. That person that we know that like we're friends with or a family member that everything they wear, they look a hot mess. Everybody, 50 people will say, will look at them and say, what does she wear? Why is she wearing that? But that mirror sold her a look that she liked or him a look that he liked. So he or she bought it. Everything you do, you're being sold in some way. So it's not whether or not it's there's truths and lies and there's different variations of the truth and things like that. But you don't spend your money unless you know what, I'm sold on that. I like that. I want that. All
Yeah.
these phones we get. What are the different things that they sell us on to convince us to buy it? It's everything. You don't when you spend your money, you sold.
Yeah, that's real. Let's move on. We got to move on. We only on the first number one of a recap, so let's continue, and we can dive deeper in this as we move on. But I hope you guys drill this in. Switches versus knobs. Turn your switches to knobs, all of them, even the ones that you hold and cherish dear. Because the moment you realize that there is no Santa Claus or some shit like that, we don't want you jumping off the bridge. Blind spots and shadows. Blind spots and shadows. We talked about blind spots and shadows. That's another one. Is that most of our growth and our abilities to completely improve and drastically transform our life, our business, lies in those blind spots. So once you create this space for people to tell you, hey, you got something right here. Your life gets better. Hey, you got a booger in your nose. I walked around this whole place and nobody said nothing to me, and you gave it. Why? Because everybody is scared of you before that. You would not give anybody the space and make anybody feel any level of comfortability to come up to you and tell you. You scared everybody off. Your growth is lining those blind spots. And if you're hiding from your shadows, then you're also draining your ability to grow and progress as a person. Man, them shadows is who you are. If you got a drawer, own that drawer. All kind of shit is in that drawer. Whatever you just have the ability to manage your shadows. If you running from your shadows, you can't manage it. The hidden parts about you, the parts that you only show other ratchet people. I got a crew too, so it is what it is. This guy and his special effects is killing me. Kaja. Jashadi, man, we got people raising hands. Oh, we got issue online?
I've been sitting with the upper right corner of the Jahari window for the last couple of weeks.
Hey.
I have to be honest, I don't really like it.
Good.
Right?
Give it to me.
The reason I don't like it is because I feel like at this age and stage, I need to hear my own voice, especially as I'm starting to move slowly into an entrepreneurial space. I need to limit the number of external voices I'm hearing because this is the time for me to figure out what I'm capable of, what I'm not capable of, what was the right move, what was the wrong move. And I need to employ all the things that got me to this place in order to do that. So I really don't want to hear you too much this, it's not enough that, turn that down. Well, did you know? Would you like some feedback? And I want to be like, shut the fuck up. Because I need to learn right now on my own, and I need everything that's in that window. So I can't really be concerned with what people see that either I'm not ready to see or that I see, but I need it right now.
How many people agree with her? How many people feel her? I've seen some heads go up and down. Okay, let's keep it real. All right. I'm gonna give you the option for the knob. You want the 10, the 7, the 6, the 5.
Give me the 10. I can take it.
You're gonna be in the same place 5 years from now with that mentality. Same fucking place. Same place. 5 years from now, I'm gonna see you and you're gonna be in the same place. Same money, same life, same situation, same everything. Because everything that your brain has up there is what got you here. You already doing it. All the stuff you know is already, you already see it in your life. It's a product of what you have. The money, the life, the relationship, everything. So that part is already manifested in your life. So if you are exactly where you want to be in life, money-wise, you exactly success-wise, happiness, emotionally, spiritually, physically, relationship-wise, if all those things are an 8 or a 10 to you, hell yeah, do that. Fuck y'all, fuck y'all, fuck y'all, fuck y'all. I don't want to hear it. I'm good. I found the formula. Even then, because things change, eras change, economies change. If you're not flexible, even after you hit 10s and all, then those are going to start drifting in number. But if you already got where that left side of the window, that left side, top left of the window is exactly what you have in your life right now. The only way you can grow, is learning outside of yourself. That's the only way. The only way. And there is something to say about initiative, drive, learning from your mistakes, introspection, self-reflection, all those things important. You got to do those anyway. Because if you can come out of a situation and say, what can I learn from this? What went good? What can I do better? If you can extract that from yourself, that's good. But if you have the ability to communicate with others and accept feedback, you'll ramp up faster. Even if it hurts, it don't feel good. You ain't happy. I don't like it. You just triggered me. I'm pissed off. So what? Swallow all of it for the sake of what I call skipping steps. The way you skip steps is by listening to others' feedback. And the bigger the feedback loop, the more steps you have to skip, because it means you ain't got to trip on that step by yourself. Somebody else already did, and they giving you the game. Or they just like, hey, yo, there's a step right there. Wait, hey. And you like, leave me alone. I just listening to myself right now. That's like, hey, Kaja, you got some bird shit right here. And you're like, leave me alone. I'm just listening. Have you ever done that to a Karen? Tried to help, didn't know there was a Karen. You're like, excuse me, ma'am, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. All right, well, then walk there with toilet tissue on the bottom of your shoe then. Go ahead. You walk around Walmart all day with toilet tissue because she didn't want to listen to nobody. Liminal thinking says, one of my options is a wide open door for others to give me feedback. And it's so invaluable. So no matter how raw you think you are, what you guys don't realize is that people at the top, highest levels in the game, most of them have feedback loops of experts that they pay to either be a coach or a therapist or somebody or something to allow them to have other angles from other people so that they can get better. It's invaluable. It's invaluable. I had a talk with Nana the other day. Man, I'm missing some shit. I'm missing some shit. Man, come over. Let's talk. Let's just spill it out. And if there's some shit you can glean from our conversation, just take it. All right. Well, this is what it is. This. He says, this is what I see. This. Thing 3 and 4. Oh shit. I never thought about it like that. So that's the I'll bet money on it, Kaja. The minute, and it don't feel good. And so and half the feedback might be trash. But it doesn't matter. You cannot close the door. Because if you close the door, then you get none of the feedback. We still friends? You still love me?
Yes, we're still friends. Yes, of course.
Okay.
I wonder sometimes, like that conversation you said you had with Nana, or just any conversation you have where you're getting feedback. I don't know this to be a fact, but I believe a lot of times that the feedback people give you is highly influenced by their own blind spots and experiences. So I don't know that I want to take 100% of what you're giving me because that's colored by all your shit. So I don't really know what is the truth in that feedback to apply to me. Now I'll hear it, right? Absolutely. But what I choose or don't choose to do with it lies in all that sifting and sorting.
Here's the rub. Are you 100% sure that it's not?
No.
So if you can't be 100% sure that it's not, then you're taking a crazy risk based on feedback instead of processing it. And we're going to get to it towards the end too, and saying, what if that's true? What are the variables involved in that for that to be true? What if that was true? If that's true, then how can I make adjustments? What can I do? How can I shore that up? Like, you can't be 100%. So if you can't be 100% sure, then you have to process it. When I said things 3 and 4 was like, oh shit. When thing 3 came in, I'm like, I know that already. I got that. I already know that. That's, in my brain, it's like the first mind said, that's just a projection. That's not real. And then I had to say, no, shut the fuck up. Really listen, open, listen, open. Oh, I get the context of where you go. Oh, that's raw. See what I'm saying? Even what we call buster. A buster comes and try to give you feedback. If you're good, you can still extract game from that feedback because you're listening for context, not content. See what I'm saying? You're listening for context, not content. At a certain level of the game, the content is just want. It's noise. It's noise. It's noise. It's noise. You're looking at where did this come from? What's the feeling? Because once you can extract the feeling from it, you apply the feeling into your next story. Because how many percentage of people feel that way? You don't know. Whether it's his, I don't know whether that's his biases, his colored. Well, what if 1,000 people are colored like that? And those could be a potential customer of yours, and you just threw them away. Get out. I need people who are woke only, people who got through all their shit. Oh no, because you're dealing with the world. You're dealing with humans, random humans, that you can't control their psychology, how they was raised, nothing. They're your customers, and your job is to convert them if they are within the demographic of your target market. So if your target market is what age? 25 to 55 or whatever it is, who want to experience the nightlife or whatever, and somebody in that demographic comes in and gives you feedback, man, you better write that shit down. You better write it down and process it. How many other people are feeling that way? People who have you ever done an intervention on somebody where you had to sit them down and be like, look, this is what's happening, you tripping, and they look like, wait, all y'all feel like this? And everybody goes, yes, motherfucker, all of us. That's because they're thinking in that same type of manner. Like, that's just you, Tone. No, I represent the majority. And you just didn't know because you don't take no feedback. All right. Questions? Everybody good? All right. Let's get started on the lesson. Good shit. Quick question. What?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Kasha, just so you don't feel alienated, I 100% used to feel like you did before I had a brick and mortar. I didn't want before I had a brick and mortar, before I had a physical business. I didn't want a lot of feedback. And then when I got a brick and mortar, it made everything very real because if I didn't care what other people thought, nobody was walking through my doors. And what I had to learn, what took me, my company turns 10 years on the 20th of this month in a few days. I probably could have, thank you guys, I probably could have fast tracked my business to double the speed of what I had now if I hadn't been so slow to stay stuck in that corner. And what I had to learn was that it wasn't the mental filter of all or nothing. It was okay to be a little bit of something at a time for what I was ready to apply. And then as I applied and got better and fumbled through, and then I moved on and I added another step, it got easier and easier to take feedback and make adjustments and let more people in. And so just to encourage you to say, you're going to feel that way for a minute, and that's okay. And like, I think almost, I'm not going to say everybody, I don't want to overgeneralize, but I think a lot of people feel that way, but are ashamed to say that they have felt that way at one point in their journey. And it's also okay to realize that it's not going to be a switch of on and off, of feedback and no feedback. It's going to be a dial up of, I don't like this shit. All right, how do I deal with it a little bit? all right, I could take a little bit more until you get really comfortable with dealing with it. But I just want to let you know you are not alone, and it is very normal.
Yeah, you're not alone at all. This has all been a progression of over time of anybody who's been in the game. So it's not. I love when you say, my favorite thing to hear from you is when you say, I heard that, but I don't like that. The reason why I do, because I know that multiple people feel that way, and it's an opportunity for us to all learn. So never stop being that way, because actually you do like feedback, because you come to class and you ask questions. So you like another version of you absorb. That's how you're growing. So I don't I don't want you to stop. Let's keep going. So where we left off. Now, you guys are also translating this from an entrepreneur perspective, right? So as we're discussing, this all counterbalances between life, personal, emotional, and business. And it's all interchangeable with each other. So business is the reason, but it's all interchangeable game. So if you are the kind of boss that nobody wants to give feedback to, nobody likes talking to, everybody's scared of, it's probably a good guess that you're that way at home. It's probably a good guess. Go ahead. I remember when I had a job, I was Mr. I know it, right? I know it. I get a brand new job. They assign somebody to train me, and I know it Tourette's. It just would come out. I know. To the point where like people were like, well then fucking do it then and walk away. Cause they want me to fail at this point. I'm tired of hearing it. I was a know-it-all king. What made it worse is that I would figure it out. I get the book, I read it overnight at home, and then come back. So then, if I would have failed early, then I would have broke that bad habit early. But because I had that I know it habit and it kept working for me, I'm smart enough to figure this shit out. I do know everything. In the corporate world, that's okay. There's books and manuals everywhere. As an entrepreneur, it crushed me. And I had to learn that lesson the hard way. My first company, I had to learn that lesson the hard way. So it's not, the wisdom comes from experience and bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? Because all right, let's move on. Next slide. So empty your cup, back to empty your cup. So that full cup that everybody sees, that represents everything you know. And in that full cup, it also represents everything you have, because everything you have is a product of everything you know. So if you ain't got everything you want, or if life is kind of fucked up right now, and you refuse to empty any of your cup to get in anything new, that's lightweight insanity. It's insanity. In order to get something new, you have to put something new in there. In order to put something new in there, you have to empty what you have. And if you're a control freak or a hoarder and you're like, I don't want to do that. All right, well then stay where you are then. Fuck. I felt away and shit. Stay where the fuck you are then. The illustration is super simple. And it's 3 words, but it's so profound. And this slide right here could change your life. 3 words. Dope ass illustration that Danielle made. That one drop at the top of that slide could change your fucking life. But because your cup is so full, it can't even get in. It can't get in. I'm going to let this sit for a second. Why do we do this to ourselves? Fear what? Shakina says fear. I'm going to give you the mic next. Start with Shakina and then give it to her.
I think on so many levels, fear of failure, fear of change, fear of acceptance, fear of the unknown, just the unknowing being crippling and most people being comfortable with facing the devil they know. It's easier to face something that you're already prepared and equipped and you know you can survive than for that chance of change in our head being the thing that can end us. Like humans are created to survive at all cost, even to fight ourselves at the cost of survival. And the unknown is a very scary thing.
Fire, Shakina. Fire. Fire. Did you catch that? Fire. Meaning, hey, this cup is full of shit, but it's my shit, and I know the shit. I can navigate my way all the way around here. It's better than what I don't know out there. So some people are willing to be comfortable with what they got, then let anything new in and continue to have a life they don't want to live. So,
I mean, there's not much to add to that. You lose everything that you have. What do you have left, even if it's not what you want? You're not certain. It's not a given that you're going to get what you want, even if you let that drop in. And so it feels like emptying your cup is a lot like death.
Love that. So it's a lot like death. Why? Why is it a lot like death? This is why. Because we're always thirsty. We're always thirsty. And there's no means of any liquid to fill our cup anytime soon. We don't see it. There's no water fountains, and we have full water in this cup. And if I say empty it, well, where's the next water coming from? Empty it. Wait, time out. You got to give me something. I need something. Empty it. And you're like, the fear takes hold because you have no reference, nothing coming. You don't know, nothing tangible.
I have a question about this, and I keep coming up against this because I'm very much at this place right now. I don't actually know practically what it is to empty your cup. What are the steps? What is the formula? What is it that I'm meant to do to actually empty my cup if it feels like that's all I have?
Great question. All right. Has anybody ever hit rock bottom? Raise your hand. Rock bottoms? Boy, I'm the king of rock. Woo! I met the devil himself. Me and him had many long conversations. All right, so most of us in here has hit a rock bottom. You know what's dope about rock bottoms? It knocks your cup over for you. Your cup empty because it's knocked over. That's the beauty of rock bottoms. You don't have to oh, should I empty this? Okay, let me just pour out a little bit. Or you don't got to negotiate with yourself because you at rock bottom and your cup is tipped over. So you one step from you know what? I don't even want to be here no more. So you are like, I'm thirsty. I'll take water from anybody. Here, I'm listening. I'm open. God, oh, yeah, hi, God. I know I ain't talked to you in 47 weeks, but we going to have this conversation now, God. If you could just help me out at any time. You got some advice for me? I'll take it. You taking notes, all ears, everything's good. You have you know what? I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they told me the most profound thing. Like I wrote it down in my journal, and like I've been thinking about it, and like that's the beauty of rock bottom. It's the beauty of rock bottom. When the best thing that could have happened to me was rock bottom. And guess what happens when you hit rock bottom? How many raise? I seen the show of hands who hit rock bottom. How many from the hands that were raised are still in the same rock bottom that they were in when you raised your hand? Okay, so all right, so most of us in this room didn't stay there. What did you do to get from rock bottom? Did you do the same shit you did when you before rock bottom? So start. Who would like to say one thing they did? Just one thing they did at rock to get one step to get them out of rock bottom. One thing, just one thing. We'll go around the room.
Start listening.
Ooh. First thing they did was start listening. What's next? Anybody else like to share?
For me, it was just stepping into a new way of life.
Stepping into a new way of life.
Change my crowd.
Change the crowd. Silence.
I was gonna say 1 foot in front of the other, like baby steps.
Baby
habits.
steps. You hold the mic like a rapper. I could tell you rapped. I could tell he rapped. He got the one finger. That's a rap. Go ahead.
I shut up.
Shut up. So, out of those things, how many of any of those things would have been in the old cup? None of them. None of them. That's why hitting rock bottom is beautiful. Now, why do I mention that? Is because if you've hit rock bottom before and you've gone up and down, that you know what that's saying? I hit rock bottom. I empty my cup. I fill my cup up with new stuff. Now I get to a certain place. Now I go back doing my old shit. The old shit starts the path back down to rock bottom, crash again. Fuck, my cup's empty. Open my cup, do thing one, start listening, new crowd, change. Now things start going back up again, and you hit this place to where you're like, I don't need that stuff no more. Back down. That's the up and down. That's the up and down. And the thing is, what keeps you going up is the feedback loop. Is having a wide open feedback loop. Stuff people don't like, stuff people, can I give you some suggestions? Like that's what allows you to stay humble to where you're like, ooh, there's other things, there's lots of things. There's lots of little tricks I have too. I don't never want to be feeling myself. I even have something to where if my cup start getting too full, I'll go jump on AC Transit, sit in the back. Like, Court, you got $1 million company, you got a multi-million-dollar company. What you doing on AC Transit? I'm checking myself. You shut the fuck up, and you sitting back and you ride this motherfucker that's 57, and then you get on BART, and then you sit in the piss area, smell that, and then let's like no way, because we're humans, right? We're humans. You know that area. If you ever rode BART, it's basically a bathroom in some corner that's chairs. But because if you get caught up in the noise of the crowd, it will allow you to float. It's easy to float yourself up there, to fill your cup up with noise. And you think the cup is full, but it's full of noise. But it's clear, so you can't tell. You can't tell the difference. So if you have a feedback loop, if you always have somebody teaching you, that means you constantly having to do this, constantly having to do this, constantly having to do this. which allows you to to play with knowledge, play with information, get checked. If you don't have nobody who can sit you on your ass and check you, not in a mean way, but just in a way that's like, oh man, I walked away. Oh, I gotta change that. I gotta change that. Then your ups and downs will be much. The distance between them will be much wider. And here's another nugget for the ones who hit rock bottom constantly. The best question you can ask so that you're never at that rock bottom no more is, what can I learn from this? Write it down. What else can I learn from this? What else can I learn from this? Not just one thing. You want to write down as many things as your brain tells you, because your brain don't want to be there either. So it's ready to give you the answer like, yo, this sucks. So don't do this no more. Don't do that. No, like that is you ready. And once you get through your list, you make sure you embed those lessons. If you hit a crash, then most of it won't be that one, because you've integrated the learning lessons from this one onto the next part of your life. Empty your cup, though. Go ahead, Shakina.
Go for it. I just wanted to ask because everybody doesn't hit rock bottom, right? So I think that there's also value to could you talk about ways that you can empty your cup when you're not at rock bottom, but you want to pivot? And because I think that when a lot of people hear rock bottom, like I've hit it a few times, I never want to go back. So I'm constantly trying to increase my awareness so I never have to go back down here. And I think that some people can put up a block when they hear rock bottom because they're like, I'm never going to let myself get that low. But then that can be a roadblock for stopping them to being open to change or open. Like, just because you're not at the bottom doesn't mean that you don't need to empty your cup. What are those halfway steps? What are those, like, what does that look like? Because I think that like that whole all or nothing thing of like either you good or you at the bottom. And I think that there's such a huge marriage of in between. Could you talk more towards emptying your cup and when you're not at the bottom?
Sure. I use the bottom analogy because y'all know how that feel, the ones who have, right? I would wager that most of us, if not all, has hit rock bottom in something. Had a mental breakdown, spiritual breakdown. I don't even know if it's God no more. I don't even know why we're here. Like, what's the purpose of life? Like you've had a mental breakdown, spiritual breakdown, a relationship breakdown. Has anybody ever had their heart broken? No one's never had their heart broken in here. No. I'm saying we're saying that there's not been a rock bottom, but there's been a rock bottom in something, right? So you either had your heart broke, your money ain't been right, your body hasn't been right, your breakdowns in your body that led you to get to a place where like, man, I got to do something different. I got to change. So if you haven't had a full circle breakdown, rock bottom, there's been something in your life where you're like, damn, I got to change. What I'm doing isn't working. So once you get to that space, now your cup's open, you're listening, you're alert for every drop of knowledge. Now, once that cup starts getting full, life starts working better. Ooh, man, stuff I'm learning is cool. You get into a rhythm and you get into a certain place to where now back you on a dating scene, or now you lost a couple pounds and now you see it in the mirror. The minute your mind gets comfortable, that sense of urgency is gone now. Oh, I gotta lose some weight. This is it. My body. That you just, all you had to do is see a couple little pounds drop off, or one good check, 2 good checks. You know what I'm saying? What you have to put in place from that perspective is you always have to have somebody in front of you and somebody behind you. Somebody in front of you that you can objectively get game from. And the first person in front of you has to be you. Meaning, how often are you reading? It's hard to be cocky when you just read a book this morning that taught you some game that you never knew. It's hard to be cocky when you have a mentor or somebody that you can exchange ideas with and get advice from that could put you. It's hard. It's hard. It's also hard to be cocky when you put things that in place for you that remind you where you was. Remind you where you was. It's hard to be cocky when you when you implement a sense of gratitude in your daily life. Those 4 things are good indicators. It's hard to be cocky when you always are pushing yourself mentally, spiritually. When you're pushing yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, you are pushing up against failure. You're always trying something different. You always pushing yourself against a particular limit. So when you at the gym and you ran a mile and you ran a mile on the treadmill, and you're like, yeah. And so now the next marker is to run 1.5 miles, and you get exhausted at 1.2 miles. You're always seeking to get better. And those pillars, they bleed off into each other. So the mentality is to always be an improver, a grower, a progressor. And you keep raising the bar for yourself. That's the game.
Share some of what online mentioned. Some of the things that they said was they asked questions, intentionally cultivating emotional intelligence, being grateful. That was Pastor Chris. Getting curious about what the folks that I want to be like are doing. Pastor Chris also says he eats a piece of toast with some That's My Jam peach jelly on it. That's how he ends his go. And getting humble. I did just one thing to put out there, and you can push on it or whatever with it. Emptying. So what's in the cup, right? What was in the cup for me was all of the things that I associated with me. So I put a lot of time and effort and energy in cultivating a lot of achievement, a lot of the things, right? So I didn't put as much emphasis for a very long time into the fact that I was the cup. So the things that were in the cup mattered more to me than me, because I conflated my value to what was in there. And so if I pour it out, then it's me. What I'm learning is I'm the thing that holds the stuff. I'm the cup. Even if the cup breaks, I have the ability to become a new cup, right? So, but that's newer. But what changed was I started to question, and a lot of that came from rules and like our conversations in here around questioning where's the value really. If it's in all of the things that I've done, then I'm the person who did it, so I could do it again. That has been a longer journey. It took me longer to see my own value was bigger than anything. But when I stopped assigning value to what was in the cup and got curious to see what's my own value, then I could let go easier. I'm not saying that was easy, because when I first started trying to understand if I had value outside of what was in the cup, I didn't find much, because I hadn't invested much time there. And so when I ask myself the question of like, who am I if I don't do these things, if I don't have these things, if all these things are gone, do I have value still? And initially the answer was, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Mm.
Being able to be in the hella discomfort of, I can't completely answer that affirmatively right now, was part of it. Like there was a point in time where I couldn't say what it was. Being willing to be with myself in that and saying, like, the truth is, I don't really know. Like, I've emptied it all out. Not that there wasn't value there, but that's not where my focus was. My focus was in achieving the thing. And so, whatever my outcomes were, that was my value.
Mm.
So, I had to relearn to have a relationship with myself first before I could start to look at who was in front of me and back, or the people who I started to look at were people who had gone on the journey of connecting to themselves and then building from that. Like I started to really pay attention to those parts of it. But when y'all first met me, I had achieved a lot, and I don't, those were great.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't recognize the cup.
Mm. Absolutely. So I got a question. Why do you think high achievers, academics, people who, and this is generalizing, why do you think high achievers, academics, but people with lots of degrees have a tough time in the entrepreneurial space? And why do you think the C students typically have a better time in the space of entrepreneurship?
Add, they also have an issue at a certain point of leadership as well, because at some point you need your value to be able to lead people on a bigger stage, and you won't have it if you're so focused on leadership. So it's in entrepreneurship, but it's also in that high achievement space.
Mm-hmm.
There is an invisible ceiling that you crash into if you haven't invested in your own value. So they struggle across the board. It's not just in entrepreneurship. They struggle in the lane that they picked for themselves as well.
Okay. Answer.
I think it's in the space of high achievers and things like that. There's a formula. Entrepreneurship is the space of the unknown, and I think a lot of people struggle with coming into that space of not knowing exactly what's going to happen versus I know I go to work, I collect this paycheck, or I go to school, I get this job, or I do this. I there's a formula for everything. Um,
Okay, Shakina. Formula.
This makes me excited. Um, so I like wrote down hella things, so my brain was just launching a bunch of stuff. But I was originally, when I had heard it, I was saying, um, high performers have this idea of checking off the boxes of perfectionism and fitting into this perfect box. And most of the time, when people are able to have C's and still get by, they have higher levels of curiosity and a higher rate of exposure to failure while succeeding. Because if you can get a C, you still pass the class, you still get your certificate, but you learn how to do the same thing that that high achiever did with less stress, with more fun, with more exposure. So it opens up your ability to have more optionality. And the thing to what Shabisha had said was, I think that how she framed that was hella dope. And what came to my mind was, I was thinking, if you're the cup and you have to empty your cup, my brain went to saying, being able to hold space for the things that serve you and constantly being able to upgrade that mental model, because you have to constantly dump your cup out. And if you're basing your value on what are the things that you're filling into your cup, all of your achievements and stuff. But if those achievements are from grade school and I was a track runner back in 20, 30 years ago, that don't have nothing to do with who you are today and what you want to accomplish. So my brain just went to that space of,
That's where I was trying to go. Oh, one more. Come on.
I was thinking about it from the angle of entitlement.
Mm.
So if I think about me, what I do, I'm in like private sector, and my husband is in this. He works for the city,
Mm.
which is highly based on academics. Every title. There's this entitlement is I got my master's, I got my degree, I'm entitled to this level and up. And if you don't, even if you can execute better or at the same level, you're not entitled. Versus like in the private sector, it's can you do it? What is your path? What is your trend? Okay, you can have the job and it doesn't really matter about your academic, paper.
Mm. So basically, what you guys saying is one has a full cup full of accolades, degrees, entitlement. It's full. The other cup got a little bit of shit in there because it knows this path is unsure, and I don't have it. It's full of what's in there is curiosity. Curiosity. So one is very structured. I can want this job all day, but it says minimum bachelor's degree. Courtney Smith can't get a job that has bachelor's degree on it because I ain't got one. So I would get an under $20 an hour job if I went back to the working world. I'd have to go to UPS because I don't have the accolades, the degrees. So, but the entitlement, well, that's part of it. But even just the idea that you mentioned earlier is that what got me here is the status of these degrees and what I learned. And in a particular sector, it works. It works, and it works well. Because if you got a master's, you them six figures is looking right? The moment, and if you want to get paid more, you don't necessarily have to be more skilled. You just have to go back to school and get a higher degree. So that system forces you to fill your cup with that game.
I do want to kind of push on something a little bit, and that is what we think a high achiever is. When I say high achiever, I'm not talking about someone who works for the city. When I say high achiever, I'm thinking people who are in private sector who are pretty ambitious. Well, probably you may not know their name. Maybe they're not a Zuckerberg because I think he's probably a different beast, maybe. But
he's a college dropout too, right?
Yeah, but the point, because I think a high achiever can be an entrepreneur. You may not be a great one, right? I don't think that those people are limited to corporate or not. Based on my thinking of an entrepreneur, what I do totally, I would say yes to is the status piece, like not wanting to lose your status.
So it's like, hey, empty your cup
because
of
that's
status.
your value.
And you're like, no, yeah,
that's your value. But the high achievers that I'm most familiar with are extremely, extremely, extremely driven, ambitious people, but they are very status sensitive. And if you threaten their status, then that's really tough and pouring out the thing. But they're not necessarily people who followed a formula in their sphere. They are usually people who were willing to do whatever it took to get there. But they are like the value, that still can't be your value and your status. And I think that if you threaten that, I think emptying their cup, there is a status and a value thing. But I don't see high achievers as people who are following a formula. At least that hasn't been my experience. But I come from a very specific space. So I come from a very specific space. So those are usually people who can't be complacent because they get fired. So they have a lot of fear around underperforming because you have to perform. Otherwise, you out of there because there's somebody else. So you don't have a whole lot of security in that sense. So it makes you like, I got to get after it. So that is my experience of high achievers, not so much the people who got an A, but the people who got to make it happen. That still doesn't translate necessarily to entrepreneurship. And most of them don't want to be entrepreneurs by their own admission.
Yeah, and that's where we're going, is that the translation of entrepreneurship. How can somebody who doesn't have a degree, somebody off the street, somebody like Baby from Cash Money, or Suge Knight, who built $100 million company and brand who was a security guard. Because your cup is empty. If I say, hey, I need you to wash that person's feet, and you got a PhD, can't do it. I didn't go to school for 8 years to go wash people's feet. That's what people say. I didn't go to school for all those years to do X. Go pack those boxes. I didn't go to school for all those years to pack those boxes, because the status and the entitlement is tough. It's a tough pill to like. You damn near want to empty all the cup except that part. No way, no way. I didn't go to school for 8 years to empty this part. I worked hard for this part of the cup. See what I'm saying? Last point, and we're moving on.
I feel like from what I'm hearing from you two's conversation is it's not necessarily a performance issue, because people in the rule set she's talking about are performing, but entrepreneurs are also performing too. It's an adaptation issue that most people that come from corporate or from big league situations, their rule set leads them to not adapt, because they're like, we only perform here, but we perform high. But like you're saying, in entrepreneurialism, you got to adapt to any situation at any time. I got to go wipe this dude's ass. I got to go pack these boxes. I got to go do this thing. It's so much wider of an adaptation mechanism that's needed than just, I do this one thing really. I can throw this left punch really well. But Can you wrestle? No, I can't wrestle.
Right. So, what I'm talking about is this. The main point of this is is the transference. Is a lot of times, and I've mentored a lot of folks with college degrees, high level college degrees, and they're dumbfounded that they can't take their degree to entrepreneurship. That's what I'm talking about. And I say, you got to empty your cup. And they say, no. You got to empty your cup. No. There's no way you're telling me I got to empty this cup when I went to school. This should translate. And I'm like, pour out 80% of your cup and we can get to some entrepreneurship shit. And they like, I ain't doing it. I can't do it. I'd rather go back and get a job because I went to school for 8 years. That's what I'm saying. Is it possible? Absolutely. Absolutely. But what you got to do is empty your cup. Next slide. First stage in emptying the cup. Go ahead, Shabisha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beginner's mind. Remove all the theories, knowledge, assumptions, and preconceptions you currently have. Rid yourself of them before you will be able to learn anything new. View it as starting with a blank slate.
Step one. Step one. So this is, what's your name? What's your name? Kendra. Kendra, step one. Step one. All of us who have been rock bottom before, was this step one? Hell yeah. Beginner's mind. I don't know shit. I don't know nothing. What I know got me here, so I'm open. So I'm going to remove everything I think I know. I'm going to go sit it over here, throw it away, it didn't work. Remove theories, knowledge, and assumptions. What I think I know, my experience, where I've been, all that shit's out the door. The beautiful opportunity now to refill your cup with something new, but you got to empty it. Once it's empty, you have beginner's mind. You have beginner's mind. I remember being suicidal. I remember putting a gun to my head before, ready to go, not even afraid to pull it. Fuck this shit. This is too hard. I'm out. I've done that before. I tattooed my son's names on my hand so I wouldn't do that shit no more. God, let's start over. I'm just Courtney Smith. That's all I am. Everything else, we can start over. Beginner's mind. I'm a baby. I'm a baby right now. Rid yourself of this. Why do you rid? The word rid is so gangster, the word rid. Not dispose of them or put them aside, or it's rid like it's roaches, right? Get rid of that shit. Get it out of here. Go. Bye. No more. Bye. Rid. Because it's hard to learn. If you're a blank slate, now it's easy for information to be embedded in your system when you're open. It's beyond curiosity at that point. You're thirsty. Because guess what? You don't got that much time before you starve. You die of thirst. So now you thirsty. Give it to me. What's the last slide? In the last line, did you say?
Zen Buddhism calls it a beginner's mind.
Best place. I studied Buddhism. That's the beauty of Buddhism. Buddhism is a beautiful, beautiful religion. It allows you to focus on this before you worry about that. You focus on this, your vessel. And having a beginner's mind is a first step. Look, once you admit it, now the ones who are holding on to it, like, I ain't letting go of that. I ain't letting go of that. I ain't doing that. I'll do that, but I'm not doing that. Guess what? I see you in the same corner. I see you on the same corner 2 years from now. You got to let go of it all. Doesn't mean you don't bring it back, but all of it has to be on the table, on the chopping block. All of it, everything on the chopping block. Because how do you know what's corrupt and what's not? You don't, or you would have been through it away. So obviously, it's all in question. Can smart people go broke? Can highly intelligent people go broke? Can geniuses go broke? Can brilliant minds go broke? Yeah. I remember I was almost homeless. I was broke, fucking EBT card in my wallet. I used to go to Jack London Square and just sit there and just stare off at the water. Like what? Because I had these certain stories in my head. I'm a good dude. I'm honest. I treat people good. I'm a giver. I'm smart. What the fuck? Why don't I have it? Those are all governing beliefs that created this, that filled the cup that said, I deserve to have a lot because of those things. Can givers be broke? Can good people be broke? It's a bullshit ass story. I remember sitting there one time, and there used to be at Jack London Square, over by where the plank is, there used to be this homeless dude. He was huge. He used to wear a plastic outfit, roll a cart, plastic. You still out there? One time he came and sat next to me and gave me game. And he's the most intelligent brother I know. He starts speaking super articulate. Man, it's going to be okay. I see you out here. It's going to be all right. It's not the end of the world. Whatever it's going to be all right. Get yourself together. It's going to be fine. And he started breaking down game to me. At first I was shocked because I'm like, damn, this brother is intelligent. How'd you get here? Anybody could get it. But you know what keeps him there? Full cup. Full cup. Beginner's mind says, I don't want this. Show me, teach me, whatever it is. I'll become whatever. Next slide.
Create safe spaces. If you don't understand the underlying need, nothing else matters. People will not share their innermost needs unless they feel safe, respected, and accepted for who they are.
So Kaja, Shakina, anybody who wants to up their feedback game, where they want to be more open and be more accepting of feedback, this is what you got to do. If you want feedback from people constantly and you want that feedback loop to open up wider, you got to make people feel safe. You got to create a safe space for people. You got to. Or you still going to be isolated and nobody's going to fuck with you. So you can feel all kind of feelings on the inside. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's good advice. I'll look into that. Man, that's interesting. Thank you. I never thought about it like that. I have to give that some more thought. I appreciate it. You may have to cough into a bag. Oh, I know this. I know it. But don't ever, keep the feedback loop wide open, because one day that feedback's going to save your ass. It's going to grow your business. It's going to improve what you're doing. Early on at Courtsmith, I ran probably good 3 or 4 investors off because I was like that. 8, 9 years ago, sure was. Diana and Karan used to tee them up for me. And they just shake their head at the end like, Court, it's okay. We love you. We love you, Court. That East Oakland in you just can't. And I'm arguing with the guy and he giving me some shit that I know is wrong because I did the research. It's my company. How you gonna tell me it's my company? I don't fucking know the numbers. Thank you. Have a nice day.
If I close my eyes, you sound like one of my cousins talking.
Probably am your cousin. I sure would. I would do that. And I'm talking investor. Hundreds of millions of dollars to write a check. And he say something that's not right. Or give me some advice that's bullshit that I know that don't work. But I couldn't even hold it down here. So you have to learn how to create those safe spaces for feedback. Got to. And then then one day you can be grateful you did. Next one. Next slide. Back one.
There you go. This opening up your mind, this willingness to feel dumb, to be vulnerable, to, in effect, rewire your brain in times of change is the essence of liminal thinking.
Yeah. So you have to remind yourself in those moments, man, you better be quiet. Look at what you got right now. You want to go back to that? Obviously, they doing better than you. So why are you talking? You have to remind yourself. We come from a world, again, and we've harped on this plenty of times. We come from a world where getting things wrong, looking stupid, being vulnerable, all those things, we've demonized those things. But in actuality, those are the keys to success, actually. Being vulnerable is a key to success. Looking dumb is a key to success because you're going after it. You're trying. School culture created this perfection and this class system, and you're not in the cool club and you're doing this, you're doing that. That's what keeps not all of them, but a good number of that group stuck. And the posturers over here who don't want to face reality because they created this persona that they sold. They doing big things and they ain't doing shit. But they created this character that now they got to live up to. So when I say be vulnerable, look dumb, both sides don't want to do it. Oh, no, hell no. Like, I ain't gonna. Get rid of that chain. Come on, bro. Get rid of that shit. No, man. It permeates on both sides. So the essence of liminal thinking, the essence meaning the spirit that swims inside of liminal thinking, the secret to liminal thinking, being vulnerable, always feeling dumb. That's why I love Lily, Shakina, Kaja, Tone Vic, 2018 Tone Vic, 2019 Tone Vic. He a 2022 model now, so he, you know what I'm saying, I don't give a fuck if I look stupid. I need this answer. That's how I used to be. When I was in them seats, that's how I used to be. I don't give a fuck. I need that answer. So however I gotta look, I don't even got the language to be able to articulate it well, but I'm gonna get it out the best way I can. I need that answer. Because when I get that answer, I'm gonna apply it. If you're not walking around always putting yourself in positions where you feel vulnerable and dumb in business, it's gonna be tough for you to grow. Man, it's gonna be tough. You think business is entrepreneurship is full of imperfection. It's full of imperfection. The big story in entrepreneurship is always hindsight. It's always at the end. It's not in the middle. Then the story gets cleaned up. The heroes rise to the top. The villains come. The smooth, beautiful story happens, and it looks all orchestrated. And then, boom, the end happens. So we think that's how the journey is supposed to go. But it's all hindsight. You don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, of course, the quitting of this was on the table, man. I was already LLCing some other shit. Let me see this new name. I don't know. They told me, Court, you got to prepare for this not to happen. Well, let me get to LLC and some shit. You feel me? So, I don't care. Got to start over. I don't care. Who cares? The beauty of being the fuck up in school is that I never had to worry about not looking stupid because I always was the fuck up. Court, get out of class. Court, go to detention. Court, go to the office. Court, go, get out. That's the beauty. Because I've already got low, people got the expectations for me have always been low in life. I mean, in my school, so as an adult, I had nothing to lose. So if somebody's like, look at this dude at the bottom, that makes me feel some type of way. Like, yeah. In about 2.3 weeks, guess what? Watch where I'm gonna be.
So it sounds like you've been kind of both. You've been the fuck up and not afraid of being or looking stupid. And you've been the I know it all. I know it. I'm curious, in the moments when you've been the I know it, and not wanted to appear vulnerable or stupid, what has kind of converted that thinking for you? And in those moments, how do you stay there? Like, coming from a background of perfectionism and high achievement, and you have to be the best in order to get noticed, all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to sit in that dumb space. Like, it's physically uncomfortable, so I'll do anything to avoid that. So how do you, in that moment, because I want that, like I want to learn how to practice. I want to learn. I want to learn to be stupid. I want to learn to fail. How do you sit in that moment, and how do you get comfortable or get even like addicted to that feeling because it feels like I'd rather die, you know?
Man, what a question. What a question. I love that question. This is how. First, practice. Practice. So none of it comes overnight. None of it. It's so imagine that for you is a muscle that's this big, right? And once it gets this big, then you'll be able to maneuver in it. Once it gets this big, now you good. Now you laugh when you're the dumbest person in the room. Now you enjoy it. Because so the way you do it is you put yourself intentionally in positions where you are that. And it doesn't have to be in business, because those things translate they cross-sectionally translate. So if you decide, hey, I'm gonna take a hip hop dancing class, and you ain't never hip hop danced in your life. Okay, let me use another one then. Let me use another one. She said she tight. I don't know if you tight. If you say the word tight. Okay. Let me use something different then. Say you want to. All right, so let's use a different term because she's good at that. Let's say, go take a ballet class, right? Take a ballet class. Intro to ballet. You're gonna be like, whoa, I'm too old for that. Like, you're gonna come up with all the reasons, but it's just the practice of being the dumbest person in the room. It's the exercise of being a dumbest person in the room. I remember the first time I did Bikram yoga. I'm like, I'm an athlete. I got muscles. Like, I could do this. I was trying to impress a girl because she was doing it. So when everybody was on that yoga shit, I'm like, oh yeah, I go to yoga with you. Man, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And why do people do it? I don't want you that bad, shit. But because I look stupid, I was hot, I was the dumbest person in the room. This 70-year-old lady in front of me is doing all the moves perfectly. She don't even drink her water, and I'm like, man, something's wrong with me. But guess what? Over time, I'm like, I gotta do this again. I gotta get better at this. I gotta get better at this, because once you enjoy that high of learning and growing and being better than you were the last time you came, the muscle starts to expand. But you get in practice. Put yourself intentionally in small little situations where you're not the smartest person, the best person, and over time, it's gonna almost feel addicting. Like you said, you're gonna be addicted to it. It's gonna be fun. And so they like, hey, you don't know what you're doing. You're like, I don't. Hey, you guys, I'm up here. I don't know what I'm doing. Nana's he's a motherfucker. We talked one day. He was like, all right, come to class. And then I came to class. He's like, all right, Court's going to start teaching. I'm like, oh, whoa. I love him for that. All right, y'all. Well, my name is Courtney. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, and I've never done this before, but this is the essence of what I'm trying to do. And over time, I want to get better at this. Go watch the class. Oh God. Oh my God. That's terrible. Stop halfway looking. No, I got to keep looking at this shit. Sometimes Tone would tell me, hey bro, you said about 455 ums. I'm sorry. I don't even remember saying it. But over time, getting better. I want to get better. If I could have completely froze up and crashed, but guess what? That's not going to stop me from trying it. I'll freeze up and crash a little bit less the next time. See what I'm saying? Next one.
Self-sealing logic forms a bubble of reality that distorts information to fit.
So we're talking so what self-sealing logic is once you decide on a belief, you create logic around that forms a bubble around that belief that doesn't matter if it's true or not, you're not going nowhere with the belief. And it can be completely off. It could be completely not serving you. It could be completely damaging to your life, to your business, to what you're doing. That's what we call self-sealing logic. It's when you decide you are a something, can't nobody tell you different. And you have logic around it that you've thought about that seals it up. I'm too dumb. Why am I too dumb? It's because I did bad in school, I did this and that to be successful. You come up with all these reasons. So when anybody tells you anything of what they think you can do, no, I can't, I'm too dumb. I know that. It's my genetics. My mom was dumb. Her mom was dumb. I come from a dumb family. You got all these reasons.
That was fine.
Okay.
I'll save it if that's okay.
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 So self-sealing logic is detrimental to your growth because you could be getting jewels and pass it up. Goes right past you, goes right through you. Self-sealing logic. The old Tone Vic. We would have good conversations. We would drop so much nuggets, but the parts that didn't get in was because of the self-sealing logic. No, that's not. All right, Cord, I gotta go. Like the food ain't even here yet. Self-sealing logic. If you say, I'm not a good salesperson. Why aren't you a good I used to say that all the time. I'm not a good salesperson. Why? Because I'm an introvert. Why are you an introvert? Because I don't really like people like that. I like to be alone. I like building. I'm the builder. I'll hire the salesperson. That was my self-sealing logic for so long. I had the rawest salesperson at the beginning of CourseSmith. 3 years into it, we parted ways. Now, guess what? I got to be the salesperson. I popped that bubble so quick. Oh, all of a sudden, now I'm a good salesperson. Now I got game. Now I can say, I was forced to. It's just self-sealing logic. It's just meaning it's all in your imagination. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in reality. It's your reality that you sealed up. Any questions about self-sealing logic?
First question is, I'm wanting to apply this to an idea that you create, right? So let's say you work on a strategy and you did your research, you did your this is what I think. This is how it plays out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're putting it in front of people and they're looking at it. So the thing that I noticed that I did was, here's how we got to this point. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's how we landed here, which seems, fine. But I'm questioning, as soon as I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, do I have self-sealing logic around this? Because those other people who were sitting there may have thought about this in a different way. How we got to is how we got to it. But what I noticed is that I have a very I know how to get you to trust me. He's smiling. I know how to get you to trust me. I know how to present information in a way that says, nothing to see here, right? And because I know how to do that, what I'm now questioning is, one, my first question was like, oh my gosh, what if that was self-sealing logic? What if I missed something in the conversation because I had a way and this was the thing? And it really, I mean, I was maybe a little open to something, but it was really, I believe that I was more focused on helping people understand how I got to it versus hearing what they may have had to say. I don't know that to be true, but it could have been, right? So I'm going with that, and then I'm saying if that is true, what would I do tomorrow? If I did that, if I was in self-sealing logic, and let's assume that, what would you tell me to do tomorrow to go back to that?
Okay. So let's talk first principle and second order thinking. Remember that? First principle and second order thinking. First principle thinking says, I take an idea, or I have a path or a strategy or an intention to get to a particular place. Let's start at the end. We only know what we know, right? It's not like we know all. We only know what we know. So to get to the end, this is what's been traditionally done. Let's throw that away and let's come up with the elements of the thing to see if we can recreate it, to break it down, make it faster, more effective, more efficient, whatever. Then the second order thinking says, once we press play on this, what happens? And what happens? And what are the possibilities of what can happen once we press play? So in your particular situation, you're having one thought experiment, just one thought experiment in second order thinking. Liminal thinking stacked on top of this says, all right, one was number two, was number three, number four, number five, and that prevents self-sealing logic. Because when you have to work backwards from those things, you have to start in different places. So it opens up your mind to different possibilities.
It's not landing. I'm struggling. What would I do then? Like,
well,
because I'm like, I might need to go, like, I feel like shit tomorrow I might need to be like, oh, wait a minute, let's rethink it, because I feel like maybe I let it too much.
Well, like I said, you only know what you know. You can't go beyond that. Now, liminal thinking says you can add options by going outside of what you know. You can add options. If you say, well, this is the way based on my knowledge and experience or whatever and what I got, that's your one sliver of the way. Liminal thinking says, all right, what if this isn't the way? What if this crashes and burns? What would need to happen to make this true, or a different way true, or a different way true, or a different way true? Or now you have possibilities. All right. Any more questions on self-sealing logic? Good. Next slide.
Self-sealing logic. When information attempts to enter, but is inconsistent with the bubble, it is warped to allow it to be integrated, leaving out details about true reality during the revision.
Okay, let's stop. When information attempts to enter, but is inconsistent with what's in the bubble, it is warped to allow it to be integrated, leaving out details about true reality during the revision, which means that there will be times where somebody will give you some game, but because of your self-sealing logic, your brain will warp it and throw it out. Straight throw it out. That's the danger of it. It'll create a new story for you. It'll leave and forget details. I remember my mom used to tell this story, and it changed every year. She said, I'll tell you what actually happened, but at every family function, she tell the same stupid ass story. Court, remember the time that you got caught stealing and I had to drive you home, and when we parked the car, I knocked you out and you fell out the car? And I say, I do remember, because I'm not going to argue with my mom, right? And then every year, the story gets more intense, more. Remember, Courtney, the time that you stole my car, and I caught you, and we drove up into back into the apartment complex, and I hit you so hard you flew out the car, and you was unconscious. I do remember that. I remember it, Mom. And then I tried to fight it at certain times. Listen, that's not true. It's not what happened. Well, what happened then? And it was a completely different reality. By the time she warped the story based on her logic, you can't tell her that it didn't happen. I got slapped, then it was a punch, then I got knocked out the car, then I was unconscious. Every time it elevated. So, and what happened was, I had a parent teacher conference. It was nothing other shit. I did different times, but she merged them together. It was a parent teacher conference, and my mom was a single mom. She worked. We had moved to Fairfield, but she still worked in Oakland. So she didn't get home till 7:00 every day. So I was wilding the fuck out. So teachers call, stuff comes in the mail. I get it all before she gets it. So she didn't know what I was doing at school. So one day he found her number directly, called her, had a pair of teacher conflicts, and he broke down all the stuff I was doing in school. And so she was so flabbergasted, right? We're talking, and I lied in the car, and she driving and slapped me, bang. So I'm tough. I'm a teenager. I call myself getting out. I open the car door and I slam it super hard, so the car shook, and I slipped when I slammed it. And her story, and it just would grow. It started with a little bit of reality, and every 4 or 5 years it'd keep upgrading. To now, I bet you if she told that story now, she shot me. And that's one version, but in life and in business and relationships, we do this all the time. That's why if you ever had a relationship go bad, or a love relationship go bad, and you stuck it out over time, you guys have completely two different stories. Almost like you wasn't even in the same house. Like, that's who you thought I was? Because you guys are forming your own individual bubble of self-sealing logic. And whatever truth happens, you forget it. It pops off. It disappears or whatever. And that person is just a horrible person, period. Horrible person. And if you let the other person talk to describe you with the self-sealing logic, you was damn near Satan the devil himself. And vice versa. It's not until you pop those bubbles and realize, no, actually, no, she was a great human being. She was a great mother. Super nice. But in that moment where you're trying to seal your logic, so how we integrate with customers, how we take feedback. The story you said about, well, the customer is coloring it their own way and they probably have their own biases. That is a story that's creating self-sealing logic that's allowing you not to hear the feedback. Versus this person coming up to me can potentially make me millions of dollars. The logic, the feedback that this person is giving me, it might be a stack of about $50,000 standing in front of me. So let me listen and get this money. Let me get this money. Kaja?
I do like this, the self-sealing bubble. I do like it. That
Thank you,
particular part of
Gaja.
it. Um, I do. Not that you needed me to, but I do. If we go, Shabisha, just a couple of slides back to that part about creating safe spaces. I know that that's not practical when you're talking about a customer, um, in your business, because the customer is just there to be the customer, not to create safe spaces. But I think when you start talking about like your back end feedback loops, it's important to have safe. This is just my thought. It's important to have safe space before you start feedbacking, because if you go by this principle, quite naturally, it will be hard for people to take in because these bubbles already exist if you haven't laid certain kinds of foundations first. So, like for all of us, as we are part of people's feedback loops, have you created safe space where I remember the slide said something about people feel heard and they feel seen and they feel whatever else? Like you have to lay that foundation before you just start pitching stuff in, because if this bubble is already in place for both people, quite naturally, there's not going to be a lot that can get through.
Yes, but the bubble, the feedback isn't for you to give; it's for you to receive. So the feedback loop is for you to receive. As an entrepreneur, you're in the mode of I'm offering you a product or service, and there's a feedback loop. So if a customer decides they want to say something, then we got to get better. We got to take it in. I love how Pastor Chris does it, because I'm working with Pastor Chris on some stuff, and he'll text me, hey, we did this and this and that. It'd be nice if this and this and that could happen. It also would be nice if, moving forward, in the future, we could do X, Y, and Z. Shit, I never thought about it like that. Or this is the second person who said this. Or, damn, this is impossible for me to do, so I have to frame it different so that they don't even get to this part. But fortunately, the feedback loop is there because I need it. Because that right there can make me more money the next time. So the creating the safe space is for your customers and your employees and your family members and your children. When I was married to my first wife, I was such a hustler. I worked 24/7. I was trying to get it. And my ex-wife would be like, "Did you know this is so and so is happening in school? What? That's happening? How come you didn't tell me?" Man, nobody spoke. It was afraid. Everybody was scared. My kids were scared to say some shit because I was the regulator. She, bring me into discipline. So when you had to talk to me, you was in trouble. Other than that, I was working. So how can I create a safe space for a 10, 11-year-old boy to tell me what's going on in their life, what they're feeling, what they're going through? It's not a safe space. So if your kids feel like they can't speak to you, and there's other people who got all the game and spilled the beans about from your children, and you don't know none of that shit, that's a sign you don't create a safe space for feedback. If your customers are complaining to your competition, you don't have a good feedback loop. You don't have a safe space. If your employees are gossiping amongst each other and you don't know, you don't got a good feedback loop. Some companies have a fucking feedback box with a little slit in it, with a small brown pencil and a white piece of paper. If you have anything you like to feedback, write it in here. You could be anonymous. Straight up, because you need that feedback. You need it. That's how Hot Cheetos came into existence. You know that story? Everybody knows that story? Hot Cheetos. It used to, remember before it was Cheetos back in the day. Then all of a sudden you got Flaming Hot Cheetos and Flaming Hot Doritos, Flaming Hot everything. It came from somebody who put it in the suggestion box, who was a janitor, Hispanic American. Mexican guy who was a janitor in where he's from, his country, everything you put spice on it, you made it hot. So he came up with the idea to make to make a flaming spicy version of all the stuff that was already out, and Frito-Lay went like this. Bruh ended up becoming a VP of the company from a suggestion box. What if from, not pointing at you, but the world of the education, like, I'm not taking no suggestion from no janitor. You have to go to school to get a degree to get the kind of stuff. Hell no. Nope. So it's to me, kudos to the people who took the advice in the upper management, who had the capacity and the emotional agility to observe, take it in, and try it, and then reward him for it. It's a good company. That's why they've been around for how long? Forever. Jesus ate Frito-Lays. Sorry, Pastor Chris. I had to say that. Let's go next paragraph.
Particularly ill-suited information may get rejected entirely, often without even noticing the filtration. The longer a bubble has been operating, the further from reality it'll be.
So if you are fortunate enough or unfortunate to hold that bubble without it getting popped, the further from reality it's going to be. The story keeps changing, keep changing, keep changing, keep changing, keep changing. Next thing you know, you open your mouth and you sound like an alien. That's why it's so important to have feedback loops. It's so important to have feedback loops. Because feedback loops will say there's something in your hair. Feedback loops will say, that ain't it, dog. That ain't it, cuz. That ain't it. What you think about my music? That ain't it. Sorry. Go ask somebody else if you want to be. That ain't it. If you ain't got a that ain't it person in your life, you have a bubble that's just floating around outer space. You need a that ain't it person in your life. Pop that thing. Pop it. Some of us, your self-sealing logic gets so, I don't want to hear it. You're not, nobody here is like that, or nobody online is like that, but there are some people that when the conversation starts getting intense and you start getting exposed for your fuck ups, you don't want to talk no more. Listen, I'm done. When the heat start getting close to you, or you have to take responsibility for something, now you don't want to talk no more. You out. You know what you're saying? You're getting too close to my bubble and you're about to pop it, and I don't want to pop it. So get away. I'm going to float over here, and there's roses and dandelions in my bubble, and we're having fun, and the Lion King is up in this motherfucker, and I'm enjoying my life. I don't want nobody messing with my bubble. So when some people are like, I have my safe space and I don't want anybody to enter it. If that's your daily, if that's your all day, you don't get into the fire, you're not figuring out life. That's the thing about one of the Buddhist sayings is that what they call it, I forget the terminology, but in Buddhism, they say, if you up in this temple all day, all year, your whole life, talking about how righteous and spiritual you are, you ain't shit. Because you only know how powerful you are when you go out into the real world. How well does it work when you're in the real world? It's practical. It's practical. So if you learn karate or martial arts or MMA and you good in the gym, it don't matter. It only matters when you in the game. I've told the story too many times. Some of y'all don't know it, but like when my dad had a barbecue restaurant on 98th and East 14th when I was a kid. 98 and E14. So place got robbed a couple times. Last time it got robbed, my dad did some things, right? So police said, you ain't got to worry, nothing's going to happen to you, but from now on, you got to get a security guard. So if that happens, the security guard will protect it. Because Pops put him down. So we hire a security guard. My dad hires a security guard. This dude was this martial arts expert, super muscular, raw martial arts. So he would take me in the back of the restaurant and show me all these moves. And I was just loving it. Like, this guy is a superhero. He's the greatest. Right? And we learned those routines with staffs and weapons and all this stuff, and he would speed it up, and we would be in the back going 100 miles an hour. We sped it up the frequency, and so he's like, oh, this boy needs to go in the competition, whatever. One day, dope fiend do what dope fiends do. They come to the restaurant starting shit. So we like, oh shit, okay. So we like, yay, bro, you gotta go. You better run. So he comes out, and that dope fiend commenced to whooping his ass. Oh my God. My heart was broke. My little heart was broke. I'm sitting here watching him getting his ass whooped by a dope fiend. So my dad is like, use your karate. And when he was done with dude, he was done. So my mind was blown. Like, you all these practice moves, but it's not practical because you've been living in your bubble so long that you forgot how to fight in real life. Next slide, man. Fuck this shit.
By deconstructing our beliefs, we transform the unconscious process of belief formation into a conscious one.
Okay, but so you ever remember when Nana or me says you have to divorce everything you believe? You have to be willing to divorce everything you think you know. So the act of deconstructing your beliefs is the act of being willing to divorce. Is, okay, these parts work, this part doesn't. This part's not effective, this part's effective. I'm not taking the whole thing. I'm going to break it out into what's effective. Being willing to deconstruct your beliefs, now that's what being conscious is. Being unconscious is saying, whatever I tell you to do, you do it. Whatever I tell you to do, you do it. That's what being unconscious, because you don't have to be conscious. And if you question me, I say, well, don't you have faith? Don't you trust me? Well, I do trust you, and like I do have faith. Well, then why are you questioning what I'm asking you to do? So you train to be unconscious. Our parents trained us to be unconscious. Did anybody get to say, well, why to your parents? Hell no. And if you didn't get popped, you got the answer, because I said so. She said, why the new kids get to do it? Because we are conscious now. We've evolved. You feel what I'm saying? So we've been trained, black folks, we've been trained to be unconscious. So We look for hierarchies that we feel comfortable and trusted and secure around to tell us what to do, and we unconsciously do it, and we look to the outcome. You grow your asset. You improve your ability to perform once you have the ability to deconstruct beliefs that you have. And divorce, throwing that away. You can have a belief that you have for 8 years and it's been working hardcore for you, and still be willing to dump it in a heartbeat if it stops working. Period. I got new data. Gone. Bye. See you later. Didn't you used to? I did, but not no more. That's the game. Bye. Psh, out. You try something. It may not make sense, but it works. It's my new belief now. Why do you hop on one leg 3 times before you step out of the car? As soon as you step out, it worked for me, and it continues to work for me, so I'm going to continue to use it. I don't care what it looks like to y'all. I don't care. Some of us are in jobs, in relationships, in situations, in businesses, based on unconscious beliefs, stuff that you were taught, that you're holding on to. And you were sold, and you were unconsciously sold. And now it's a governing belief down there. You were unconsciously sold. That's the best way to sell somebody when they don't think they're being sold. I don't like being sold. I don't like being sold either. But guess what? We're the ones that get sold the most. It's the truth. Hey, I need to make my commission. This is what it is. Like, so we were sold particular things throughout life, and it wasn't a hard sale, it was a subconscious sale. And now it's a belief. Who sold you on major shit? Who sold you on it? Who sold you on I'm not even going to go there. I cause a ruckus. Okay, let's read this next paragraph and then I'll
By suspending judgment and leveraging empathy, we can begin to understand the beliefs of others and what makes sense to them. Through liminal thinking, we can connect with others to understand their thought process. By surpassing the threshold of our own beliefs, we can expand our perception on the reality of the world.
So the way it is, that's all fucked up logic in your head. The way it's supposed to be, distorted logic. Distorted logic. Because the world is so complex than just a sliver of life that we see. It's bigger than it all. It's bigger than it all. There were people that lived here before us, that had a way of life before us. So if you say that's the way it is, it's probably not going to be that way 400 years from now. That's the way you're doing it. That's the way you're doing it. Who's like, so once you adapt liminal thinking, somebody can tell you a completely different viewpoint from yours and be like, that's dope. That's interesting. I have this. What makes you do that? Tell me more about that. Now I understand. I remember my mentor was telling me that about about Hitler and how brilliant of a person Hitler was. I'm like, man, you're something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. Don't ever mention Hitler. Hitler was a horrible person. But he's like, in order for there never to be another Hitler, you have to understand Hitler. You have to understand how he got there. And once you understand how he got there, you realize how it's possible to create another one. And that's how you prevent that. So understanding involves empathy. Who knows what empathy is?
The ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Partially. Silence.
I was gonna say the same thing, but I know there's a difference between empathy and sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just can't remember the difference right now.
Jordan.
I think when you explained it to me the first time, sympathy is when you relate to a person and you become that person. But empathy is when you relate to a person, but you're able to navigate the space of not becoming that.
Close. Close.
If I recall properly, sympathetic is when you take on a person's emotions. So, for example, Tone, somebody in your family passes away, and you're really impacted by it, and I'm like, damn, I've been on Tone forever. I'm just so broken up. I'm so distracted. I can't do nothing because I'm so broken up. That's like sympathetic. Versus empathetic is when you can see what a person's going through and have compassion for them without personally taking on the experience, so that you can hold space for them without it destroying you.
Good answer. Now, the only thing we're missing is understanding. So empathy includes the understanding. All the other stuff is dope, but it also includes understand. Man, I can't understand how that I can't understand that. I can't understand how that can make you feel. Or, man, I understand. I definitely understand. You don't take it on, but you understand. Once you understand, then that allows you to see it from their perspective, not feel it. Sympathy, you feel it. You fucked up for a week, I'm fucked up for a week. That's not even my cousin, it was yours. Right? You broke, I'ma be broke. You know what I'm saying? Empathy, you understand. And when you understand, you're much able to see things from an objective angle from another person's point of view.
Doesn't sympathy have to do with like a otherness as well? So sympathy is more about you, the person, as opposed to understanding the real issue. Like the example of Tom's shoes, when they were first going out and giving shoes to the poor folks in the village, they were being sympathetic as opposed to really understanding the problem. Like, we don't want shoes, we need water, right?
Absolutely. So sympathy is a lazy it's almost your first mind's version. It's the stimulus and response version of when you hear someone's what they're going through. Sympathy is the first mind. You feel it, I feel it. It goes back to, it's a natural reflex that we have. You guys notice there's been work done, studies done. So when a baby cries when it's first born, what tends to happen? A lot of babies start crying. That's sympathy. So it's embedded in us to feel what the other person's feeling. You ever watch a movie? It's a fake ass movie that a writer wrote, but they start crying and you crying because you're feeling the feelings. Oh yeah, he won, he lost, the dog died, and you crying, and that dog go back to his home. Because sympathy is embedded. It's natural. It's not like a weird thing. It's embedded. Empathy, on the other hand, because that's what we're talking about. That's where we're going. That's the meat of this. Empathy says once you're able to hear someone's opinion that's different from yours, and you say, let me step in your shoes. Let me see it from your perspective. Oh, I get where you get that. I see how you can see it like that. From your perspective, this is what it does look like. And from your perspective, you are right. I get it. Cool. I get it. That's how two people can live together, be together, share all these moments together, and they see the relationship completely different. Completely different. is because there's zero empathy. You want to be a better partner? Empathy. Empathy. Damn, I could see that that's tough for you. I can, from where you're standing, I can see that. Hold on, I can see, wow. Now I understand where that emotion is coming from. I get it. That way it's like, oh, you see from where I'm seeing? You're talking about creating safe space? That's what creates a safe space.
This is a much boiled down version of like me trying to simplify it, but is the difference between sympathy and empathy the next step up of emotional intelligence? Because one is something that is innate, and then the other one is something that requires a higher consciousness. So it's like a evolution of sympathy, because you're still attempting to connect to the person or the experience, but you have to have the know-withal to be able to see yet not absorb and then respond. Is that kind of like the next parallel if I were to try to explain it to somebody else with the simple, I mean, it's not simple difference, but like, is that a simplified way of explaining that, like another step of emotional maturity or agility?
I mean, you can, but it's one is innate, one is a practice.
Mm-hmm.
One is innate and one is a practice. All right. Good. Next slide.
Actions and results are observable. Beliefs are not.
Keep going.
Needs are not only invisible, but they are often intentionally hidden because exposing them makes people feel vulnerable.
That's what makes belief so cold and dangerous. That's why we look for context and not content in conversations. Because when you're listening for context, you're listening for results and actions. Oh, I felt this way. This happened. I felt this way. You know, I don't like these people. And you're listening for context. When you're talking to a customer, you're listening for context, not content. Because that's observable. You're looking for belief because that will lead you to the beliefs that they have. Oh, we got a couple customers at work. You know, if you don't do this, if this can't happen, I want all my money back. Well, they're saying they want their money back. No. What's the context? They've never done business with us before, and they're scared. They're scared. So when you respond, don't respond what they said. You respond with assurance. You respond with security. You respond with a track record. You respond with safety. You respond with our guarantees. You respond with our everything that makes them feel safer. Look what they're saying. Now this is a different conversation. Okay, then it gets done. It's good. Everything's good now. Because when you're listening for context and you're observing, in your listening, you are listening for results and actions. It's going to give you the context. If your space isn't safe, you're not going to know what people need. What is it? Well, I'm out. What is it? You need more money? I'm out. You have to understand what the needs are of the people around you. If you can create a product that fills a need that people want, or they don't even realize that they want it, they don't even recognize it's a need yet, sky's the limit. Because most people don't talk about what they need. It's too vulnerable of a space. Too vulnerable of a space. Who can you trust to say that to? If you say it to your significant other, maybe they get defensive because they feel it makes them feel less than. So you don't say it to them. You got to show up a certain way at work. You don't say it to them. If you got kids, you got to show up as a leader. You can't say it to them. everybody busy, are your friends, you don't really. So we don't, a lot of times we bury our needs. If I say, hey, what do you need? The blink start happening because you're trying to find it. And then you first thing is, shit, I don't know what I need. I don't know. What do I need? Shit, I ain't thought about what I need. Most of y'all givers so much, and you sacrifice yourself for so many people so much for so long that you've thrown your needs out the window a long time ago. So you don't even know what it is. You're martyrs. What do I need? Somebody like came to me and was like, Court, you need a fucking vacation, bro. And then it was like a little vacation picture popped in my head. I was like, damn, I do, huh? I need vacation. I forgot I needed it. So it goes back to those other slides. You got to create the safe space for people to feel vulnerable enough for you to have those kind of conversations with you. Good conversations, real conversations. Let's put it all out on the table. Let's keep it real with each other. Have you ever, if you ever been around somebody that made you just feel completely non-judged? Man, I don't, when I'm around you, you don't judge me. I can say whatever. Could talk about anything. Have you ever had the opportunity to be around people like that? You done told them some shit, huh? Like some deep, because once they get in a rhythm of telling you the real, you like, oh, you did that? Tell me more. Give me some more. Because the judgment, the space is open. Be glad she's in this room, boy. Anyways, next slide.
The art of triangulation. Look at situations from as many points of view as possible. Consider the possibility that seemingly different or contradictory beliefs may be valid. If something does not make sense to you, then you are missing something.
Okay, so the art of triangulation is another word. Because when people write books, they write books and they come up with sayings, right? They come up with sayings. So a lot of things we read are remixes of something that another PhD said. And the PhD said, well, I'm not going to use his word. I'm going to make up my own word. But some of them are the same definitions for different words for the same thing. So triangulation is basically what liminal thinking is. It's creating different scenarios, different options like we talked about earlier. This could be true or could not. This option could be true or could not. How many points of view can I have? Before even I get other eyes and ears on it, how many points of view can I have? That makes you a cold entrepreneur. You want to generate revenue. You want to recover from some shit. You want to find new streams. The art of triangulation will take you there. If you stuck on, I'm going to get rich this way, following this particular path, because I have grit and I have stick-to-itiveness and I'm not giving up, and I had a dream and God gave it to me, and I'm gonna do it this exact way, you're gonna get smoked by people who practice the art of triangulation. Because I'm gonna say, God don't do it like that. You don't have the luxury of having a map like that. You get the next logical step. You get 20 feet, 20 more feet, 20 more feet, 20 more feet. And you look at your plan and you look at how it got there, and it's two totally different things, because that's how the game works. And the art of triangulation says, what are all my options? That's how it's possible for some people who stick to that to do pretty good in Vegas, because Vegas is not built for logical thinkers. People who triangulate is built for impulse, emotional. So most folks are emotional. I ain't got to worry. But if you follow a particular system that's triangulated and you hedge yourself against all your triangulations, then your odds go up way higher. And it's a tough game. They end up kicking you out the casino like you got to go. And business is just as cold. Business is just as cold. Next slide. We're going to get through these slides today.
Cultivate as many theories as you can, including some that seem odd, counterintuitive, or even mutually counterintuitive, and hold on to them loosely.
You remember those 3M Post-it notes?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the Post-it notes, sticky notes? You know, the scientists who invented those tried to invent the stickiest, hardest substance ever. That you can put two things together and they never pry apart. This happened, and he was like, "Oh shit, I done messed up. What can I do with this?" And came up with sticky notes. Turn that bad idea into multi-billion-dollar company that's 3M today. That's cultivating as many theories as you can. As many theories as you can. Because you never know. You never know. So in your business, if you're stuck on a way, that's why you felt that energy last class. Like, yeah, that start trying. Okay, that's one. What else? What can I do to improve? How can I add value? What can I do different over here? What if I did this? What if I did? And it never, you have to stop yourself. And once you get stuck, ask somebody. Shabisha, what do you think? Because Shabisha has a way of processing things I can't even fathom. I can't even fathom. It's a different plane than me. So what do you think? Oh, wow, that's a way I never even thought about. What do you think? What do you think? What does a customer think? Man, I don't even want all that fancy shit, Court. Just put a logo here and I'll buy it. Really? You would? You would too? You would too? I'm spending all these hours trying to come up with the rawest designs and the best thing, and I have a group of customers who just want the logo. I thought I wasn't ready for that yet. Triangulation. So, what's the bottom part of that?
Don't get attached to any of them. Then you can start asking questions and seek valid information to help you understand what is really going on.
Don't get attached to any of them. None of them. So if we put this in the words of the theories of music, make it easy. You make 12 songs, and this one is the hit. This one is the hit. You play it, you get goosebumps. You let your best friends hear it, they get goosebumps. This is going to be my lead single. This is the banger right here. You put the album out, the hit song is the bonus one that you threw in at the end. That's how it works in business a lot of times. So you can't get attached to anything. You just came up with all the options. Some of my biggest sellers in my company is like shirts that designs that took me 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I've sold $100,000 of this one shirt that won't die. Because we have a strategy, like if it sells out at a certain time, then we restock. If we stays in inventory after a certain period, then we kill it. I got two shirts that I designed in 2014 that just won't die. 15 minutes. Because they wasn't the cool shirts. I don't even got none in my closet because they're not the cool shit, the stuff I like. but it put food on my table years and it's still rocking. You'll be surprised how much that's like it is in your business. McDonald's makes their money off the coffee. 7-Eleven makes their money off the coffee, not the items, the coffee. What if you were stuck on the idea of, I'm a hamburger company. I make hamburgers. That's what I do best. They make their money off the coffee. So if you too tight holding on to those ideas of who you are, whenever you say I am then you just locked yourself into a self-sealing logic bubble, and that thing's about to start floating. But you look down at your business over there. It's you all the way over here. Don't get attached to anything. It's all data. You may personally like something. It's cool. You're human. You may personally feel some type of way about a product or service, a flavor in your business, what you do or whatever. That is fine, but you gotta hold it. It's like having 6 or 7 kids and they're all asking who's your favorite. You may have a favorite, but you ain't saying shit. Oh, you all are my favorite. That's what my mom used to say. Y'all all are my favorite. Lying, hella lying. Ooh, I'm sorry. That's your flavor right there. See what I'm saying? That's how you hold on to your ideas, just like that. You may have a personal, but no, I'm gonna be loose about all of these. Next slide.
You want me?
Yes.
It's not about you.
Say it was. Yeah, give it to me again.
It's not about you.
It's not about you. Hey, remember that exercise we did? She emphasized the not the first time. It's not about you. Then she was like, it's not about you. I like that one because it ain't. We got to understand that this entrepreneurship is not about us. It's not. We are servants to our customers. We're servants. That's why there's no way you can be a servant without feedback from the person you're trying to serve. You cannot. It's easy to use it in the context of a restaurant because you're a server, right? Hey, my name is so-and-so. I'll be your server tonight. What would you guys like? You order. I want this, and that. You write it down. You go back to the kitchen and say, hey, this is the order. You put the ticket up there. The cook looks at the ticket and makes the order. When they're done, they give it to you. In between that, you ask them, would you like any water? You like anything? Are you guys okay? Why? Because it is your job in that moment to serve that person. Why are we getting weird about the word serve? We serve that person. Food comes, you bring the food back out. You set it on the table. You make sure they got napkins, fork, spoon, something to drink. And before you leave, you say, is everything else? Is there anything else I can get you? Because I am your server. No, it's good. Thank you. We're good. You go check other tables. You come back periodically. You guys need anything? If somebody's finished eating their food, what happens? You take their plate. They don't do nothing. They don't get up. They don't go they don't go wash their dish. They don't go do anything in that moment. That's part of the experience. Hey, you guys take your time. I'm going to put this check right here. Take your time, though. So guess what? 90% of the people will write the amount and then they'll do what else? Give you a tip. They'll add 10 to 15%, sometimes more, of what they paid for the food for your experience. For your experience. as an entrepreneur, that 10 to 15% is what we do. That space, that scary space of if the customer didn't like the service, I ain't getting this tip. If the customer didn't like the food or the service, he ain't coming back. If the customer didn't like the food or experience, I could get in trouble. Some of the things I don't have control over because I'm not the cook. So I could get punished by not getting a tip. If the cook fucks it up. That's the risk of the uncontrollables. So our job is to control what we can control. A good server says, "Hey, no, he wanted his egg scrambled hard with the little brown at the top. This ain't brown at the top. I'm not gonna give it. I'll wait." I know I'm talking to black folks, so I know that's why. You feel me? So that because you're looking at all the little things. Hey, I love those shoes. I love your earrings. Your earrings are beautiful. Where'd you get those from? Well, I got them I was on a trip to France and I found them at a little shop in France. I've been to France. Did you go to a little shop there? Oh, I went there too. Oh, that's dope. Whoa. Have that conversation. Now they're invested in you. Tip just went up because you increased the experience. Hey, can I get some ketchup? Here's 2 different ketchups. We got this ketchup. This is the spicy ketchup. Kill it. Next thing you know, that window. You just open that window. Now you beyond 15%, and they coming back. That's what entrepreneurship is. It ain't about you. As an entrepreneur, we are servers. I am a server. You come to my restaurant. Sit down, I'm going to serve you. Hey, how you doing? How's everything going? You doing good? Okay, cool. What can I get for you? Well, I want uniforms for my team. Okay, well, here's a menu. It's no different. I'm a marketing company. How can I serve you? I have a fitness gym. How can I serve you? I have a consulting company. How can I serve you? I'm a photographer. How can I serve you? I have a barber company. I cut hair. How can I serve you? You sit down, I put this thing around your neck, and I give you an experience. I don't just cut your hair. I put the dope one around you. I got music. I bring you back. I steam it. I do all the shit. Give you an experience. We're servers. It ain't about you. It ain't about you. I'm so-and-so. I did this. I got to this. We ain't done shit. Because there's somebody that if they weren't in your life, you wouldn't even be here. There's several people that you wouldn't even be in the spot you in now if it wasn't for them. So the I shit got to go. Unless you're going to bring them all up with you or you're going to talk about them all. Because it ain't about you. It's like it ain't about me. We are servers. Remember when police used to put to serve and protect? They took that shit off a long time ago. It's a different mantra now. What is it now? You don't know? It's a different mantra. She's like, fuck that job. But it used to be serve and protect. And then they'd be like, what you doing? Your job is you're supposed to be serving. You're supposed to serve and protect. What happened to that? That used to be the comeback. Because public servants, leaders, CEOs, everybody, we are here to serve. And if you don't deconstruct that in your head to think the world revolves around you, we'll never grow our businesses to places where customers are in abundance to us. Because everybody spends their money for a need, for an exchange. I can be self-centered at home. I could do that shit by myself. When I come to spend money with you, it got to be, I have to feel like it's an experience. And especially businesses, black businesses, we have to, you want to know how we can compete in the marketplace better? Get that ego shit out, throw it out the window, and start serving. What do you even, we all up on these luxury brands, right? Gucci, Fendi. Why are they luxury? Why are they luxury?
Because because of the story, but two, because that entire experience is extremely curated. Extremely curated. Like they know they're trying to influence you to convert at the end of that. Like they want to leave like no doubt that you're gonna like pay up, right? So I want to make it easy for you.
Yes. So let me fuck your head up a little bit. We put luxury brands up here, right? We put the Kmarts and all this stuff down here, but luxury brands are up here. Why are they luxury? Because what she said, but if you experience luxury brands, they serve you at the highest level, a level higher than anybody else does on this planet. Have you ever walked into a Louis Vuitton store and they gave you champagne to drink? Have you ever stayed in a hotel? Have you ever went to a hotel and they monogrammed your initials on the pillows before you got there? That's luxury. We call it luxury. We look up to it. We put the word luxury on it because it's fancy, but it's another word was they serve you better than anybody else in the industry is serving you, which makes you go, I got to experience that. I got to go get that bag because when I walk in the store, they serve me. The ambiance, everything folds for me. I have my personal shopper. Have you ever shopped at Nordstrom's? You can get a personal shopper that just, what you need. Let me put some styles together for you. You just sit here. So you're going to pay that extra. We are so hijacked by scarcity that we just want to give the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Take the thing. You're going to lose by the people who give the thing and the experience at the highest level. Because I'm 400 years of slavery, and Jim Crow, fuck that, take the thing. But entrepreneurs say, no, how can I serve you? Let's go back to Jesus. Jesus washed feet. Jesus washed feet. Come on, bro. Jesus washed feet. How can I serve you? So if you ain't willing to wash feet, and I am, my line's going to be all around the corner. Yours ain't. Jasadi, we'll close it.
No, I was just thinking on the fashion thing. Like, I was learning recently that a lot of the major, like the luxury fashion brands like Gucci and Louis and all that, like, they switch around designers all the time. And they're constantly playing like musical chairs. Oh, empty the cup. That's it.
My cup's empty. My cup's empty.
But yeah, so like when people are just so dead set on like, oh, this is my design, like you were saying before, trying to hold on to that and think that your business is built around that. But then, these luxury designers is always swapping out designers, but then like you said, the experience is always the same. You always have that heightened level of experience when you walk into the store, when you purchase the product. So it's really about that experience, not necessarily about the designs, because Gucci can change their designs, Louis can change their designs at any moment.
Absolutely. When I was test driving Teslas, walked in there, hey, I want to test drive. I'm used to, give me your ID, I get in the back, I drive you around to a kind of a curated place, and then you get off when you get back. He like, here's the key. I'll see you in a minute when you get back. Just let me take a copy of your ID. What? For real? Yeah, no, here's the key. Go enjoy it. I didn't even get in yet. And I'm like, I got to get me one of these. Because I ain't gotten a car yet. Because of that experience. I ain't gotten a car yet. Telling you, it's not about you. It's about the service. Let me tell you, I bought from 1997 to say 2006. I probably purchased like 10 properties, maybe 7 or 8 in that span. I was on that movement. You know how I picked my realtor? Called a realtor about a house I wanted to buy. I get there, he gives me this funny ass look. I was 21 years old, so he's like, "Come on, man!" Like almost like, "What you doing? You wasting my time. Do you really want the house? Do you know how much this is? Like that kind of shit." All right, and next person did the same thing. Third woman, she was doing she was a realtor for a short amount of time. She still had the junky car. She hadn't upgraded to the realtor car yet. It was a minivan. I had my son with me. He was still in a car seat, 6 or 7 months old. So she's the sweetest, nicest woman. She grabs my son's car seat, puts it in the back of her minivan, and we start looking for properties. Didn't judge me. The sweetest person, the nicest person, didn't know who I was, treated me like I had $1 million in my pocket. We go to buy this particular house. To look at this particular house. My son shit his diaper, explodes the diaper. I'm not good at that game, and maybe I didn't go on right, but he killed all over her car, all in her minivan, and she's like, "You know what? I'm a mom. I got 3 kids. This is nothing to me. Hold on." And she whips this kid, had extra diapers in the back, cleaned everything up, whipped the kid together, put him back in the car seat, and we kept looking at house. I'm like, I'm rocking with you forever. So not only did she buy my first house, she bought my second one, my third one, my fourth one, 2 rental properties, 5 referrals. And if she was around, I still rock with her because I locked in on her service. You be that person. Humble yourself and be that person and watch what happens to you. If you're having problems getting customers, that's probably the issue. You be that person. Humble yourself and be that person. Try it. If you, like you say, break your beliefs apart, that's the shit that's been working for you. So break it apart. And what if you just for 30 days tried it? For 30 days, this is the homework. This is the growth work. For 30 days, I want you to completely suspend your old beliefs about what service is and actually be a servant. Be a servant for 30 days. How can I serve you? I'm sorry you're experiencing that. What can I do to make your experience better? Oh, you want? Let me get that for you. Let me add that to. I thought that you might want that, so I brought you 2 just in case. In your business, how can you serve your customers? When you move with a servant's mind, it changes. I got a whole bar at my office. I don't even drink alcohol. But guess what? A lot of my coaches love Hennessy. So guess what? It's hella Hennessy in there. So they walk in, "Court, where my Hennessy at?" "Right here, cuz, let's go. Take a shot with me." I do a fake shot with you. Cause I'm here to serve you. We here to serve you. Your experience gotta be raw, gotta be better than anybody. For 30 days, this is what I want. I want you to start acting like you're of service to people, like you're a waiter or waitress in a restaurant, and think in advance what they might want and get that for them. And I want you to take notes on the difference. Cool? Any questions about this? Yeah.
An announcement.
Yeah.
Next Saturday, the Stuck group is meeting. That's the 25th, I believe. So I just wanted to public service announcement. We hope to see you there. That's all I
Absolutely.
wanted to say.
All right.
The Stuck group.
The Stuck group. The Stuck group. So it's going to be a virtual group where they're going to be discussing the book, The Science of Stuck, and working through and discussing. So it's going to be powerful and impactful.
Yeah. We're new to facilitating in this space. So, but at the same time, really, really excited to actually get the opportunity to show up to our community in this way. So excited for you to join us. It's at 11:30. It's on Zoom. An email will be going out for you to log in. We hope to see you there. Let's grow together, y'all. It's 2023, so let's do it together. So hope we're really excited and hope to see you there.
Yep. And on that note, we out. I feel like a Drake song about to come on. Man.